What's going on, everybody? Cali Death Podcast back once again, episode 34. Fucking huge one. Another live one for you guys, number 3. Thanks so much to all the new subscribers. We're creeping up on 700 the last time I saw. Let's maybe try and get that over 700 this episode.
We're at 701.
Oh, nice, dude. Fuck yeah. Yep. I was like, maybe we can get a few more during the episode, but I guess it's already done. So sick, dude. 700 plus subscribers. What, 8-9 months we've been doing this? That's awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much for taking your time out of your life to come hang out with us and listen to us talk about some shit. This one's a special one, obviously, with my resident homies, Joseph, Joel, and Casey. I'm Anthony, and this is an awesome one. They're all awesome, but this one's an awesome one. He was one of the, I want to think that when I was trying to think about a guest that I could get on, he was in the first round of thoughts, but then everything got snowballed and everybody, I got this guy. So it's like, now we finally got him on. Alex Bent from many, many bands, currently from Trivium. Sick ass drummer, dude. What's going on, brother?
Hey, man. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, dude. No, I appreciate it as well. You got your history. Well, Joseph, I don't know if you guys have met before in existence.
We played a show together, actually, and I've seen you play live before that, but we played at the Slide Bar in Fullerton with my band Transcend the Realm, and Alex was playing with Archaic. I think you said it was your last time playing live with Archaic, so honored to get to see that show.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I remember that. Like, it took me a minute when you mentioned it to me, and then I was like, oh yeah, like it all clicked, and I was like, I remember. So yeah, man, thank you.
Yeah, and then I got to talk to you afterwards, and you were super nice, and just totally in line with everything else everyone's ever said about you. So yeah, I'm super stoked to have you too, for sure.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. Like I was telling you guys before we went live here, I'm a huge fan of the podcast and everything you guys are doing, and huge fans of you guys. I mean, I literally grew up listening to you guys, man. I mean, KC, we've never really talked before, but dude, I grew up watching you play drums. You were one of my first extreme death metal shows that I went to. It was Decrepit Birth. Joel was there playing bass. I mean, Anthony with Severed Savior. You guys are all like my heroes. So I am very honored to be here with you guys.
Dude, that's super cool, dude.
Thanks, man.
It really is. It feels good to hear that, because you're such a fucking beast, bro. You are a beast. And
thank you, man.
And I've watched you at a very young age. You were about 19 when we toured together back in 2013. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Sneaking you into all the 21 and up shows as a guy carrying in fucking gear and shit.
Yeah, remember Archaic had to change their name to Vortex Sword?
Yeah, dude. Oh, no. I mean, I remember it now, dude. Yeah. Because there was a thing. Yeah, that was in Utah, right? So
that was in Salt Lake City, Utah. And every other venue we were playing, it was like they're kind of like either whatever, or they, I'd sneak by. But that venue, they're like, absolutely not. He's too young, yada, yada, yada. And I was able to I remember Jared was like, take this box of merch, walk by as quick as possible. He's like, and just go sit in the corner. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I did. And they were like, well, now we have to play under like a different band name. And I think, on stage, it was like very random. Jared's just like, what's up, guys? We're Vortex Sword from California. we played the show, so it worked out. But
it did work out. But that was actually, I remember that was a stressful time, because there was a chunk of time where we didn't know what we were going to do to get you guys in, because they were being super, super strict on that.
Hey, Anthony and I back in the day had the same issue. We were 20 years old, something like that, and we basically could not play. It was like brick by brick. There's certain venues that we like. I think me and Ivan one time, we literally had to jump a fence while the security guard wasn't looking.
So that was
in to play the show.
You guys all got in, and then I got caught. They saw you. I got caught. I was the last guy trying to get in. I got caught, and I had to do the whole thing I'm performing tonight. And then I worked out some deal where they had to have the security next to the stage the whole time, and I was like a little fucking asshole, just like fuck security, dude.
Yeah, you said it on stage. I remember you were like, fuck security, man.
Because they were kind of being dicks about it, but I was like, that's another thing too, where like I ended up getting on stage that night, but then I had to hang out in the alley with, actually it was bittersweet because I hung out with AJ pretty much the whole night. But then after he left, everybody was still having a great time inside, and I was just like, fuck it, dude, I'm gonna go kick it in the van or some shit, you know.
Yeah,
that's what you can do, man.
Yeah, but yeah, dude. So Alex, you have an interesting history with music. You know, I've learned about it from spending some time with you on the road and keeping in touch with you and stuff, and you've told me some stuff about your life, and I really like your origin story, dude. So I want everybody else to hear it.
Right on, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'll try and condense it all because it's been kind of a wild journey. But starting from the top, I was born in Oakland, California. Lived in Hayward until I was about 8, and then my family moved into the Central Valley, kind of the Modesto, Stockton, Tracy, Manteca area. So, you know, about an hour and a half away from the Bay. And growing up, my dad was a musician, so I would go to all his gigs, but
What did he play?
He played really everything. He would play guitar, sing. He actually taught me my first beats on drums. Nice. But when I would go to his gigs, most of the time he would be either singing or maybe playing bass. I mean, kind of just a freelance musician. But when I was younger, I wasn't really interested in music. You know, I'd go to all his gigs everywhere, San Francisco, Bay Area, Central Valley. And, you know, I was like, oh, that's cool. But like, it wasn't like, it didn't grab me yet. And then I was 11 years old, and it was probably like the last era of MTV playing music videos. And this music video came on TV for the band called Yellow Card. They had a single called Ocean Avenue. I don't know if any
familiar.
Yeah, any pop punk fans might be in the house here, but
I remember that band.
Yeah. It came on TV, and every single time the drummer would do a fill, the camera would go to him, and I just remember watching it and being like, wow, like that's so cool what that guy's doing. I don't know what he's doing, but whatever he's doing, I want to be that guy. So I remember I immediately went to my dad and I asked him if he could set up his old drum set in the garage. And he was like, okay, I'm going to show you a couple basic beats. And the first song he showed me how to play was Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. Nice. And that was pretty much it for me. Once I started playing and it started to click, I was basically like hooked. So at that point I was like 11, 12 years old. And I went from like playing outside with my friends all the time, like riding bikes and all that, to like just doing that all day, every day. And all my friends were like, dude, Alex, all he wants to do is just sit inside and play drums. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, this is awesome. And then, you know, luckily with my dad being a musician, right off the bat, he started having me come out and do gigs with him. So I was playing a lot of like, you know, Earth, Wind and Fire, Commodores, a lot of like funk and soul music, because that's what he was doing a lot.
At that young age, you were gigging with him?
Yeah. Nice. He had me out really, really young. So that again was that same situation we were talking about, where he's trying to sneak me into places because I'm too young. You know, I'm like 12 or 13 years old. But yeah, I'm playing gigs with him. And then let's see, 12, 13.
I remember you telling me you had a deep appreciation for gospel music and gospel drumming. Now,
yes,
does that play a part in your actual, like your history? Like, did you do some gospel drumming with some gospel bands and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would never call myself a gospel drummer, because they're like, you know, I'm someone who got very fortunate in the fact that I kind of ended up there kind of on accident at those churches and in those places. Because I mean, you know, I didn't grow up going to church or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But let's see, to try to make a long story short, I started doing these drum off competitions for the Guitar Center drum off. And mm-hmm. this, I had been playing for like barely a year, but I was still able to kind of, you know, like the first couple rounds I won locally and regionally. And a couple years before I was doing that, there was this drummer by the name of Eric Moore from Stockton, California. And most drummers know who he is. If they don't, you guys got to check him out because he's incredible. He's one of the best drummers in the world, in my opinion. But anyways, he came to the Guitar Center drum offs to demonstrate because he had just won like a couple years prior. So they were having him come out. So I remember he came and he met me at a young age, and he was like, man, he's like, right on, man. He's like, you're going to go places and yada, yada, yada. Like just super cool, super inspiring. And fast forward, going back to your question about like the gospel music, I was at home and I was watching videos of Eric Moore on YouTube. And then this cable guy comes to my house and he can't fix our cable for some reason. So he's just going back and forth for like 2 hours. And then he walks by my computer and he goes, oh man, you're watching Eric Moore? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, you're a drummer? And I was like, yeah. And at this point, I loved the gospel drumming, but I didn't know anything about the music. I had never been to like a church like that or anything. Mm-hmm. But he goes, oh man, he goes, all his family goes to like my family's churches and his sister sings in my church. We don't have a drummer. You should come out and play drums this Sunday. And I'm like, I'm like still young. Like, I'm like, cool. Yeah, sure. So, long story short, yeah, I show up at this church and immediately, I was like, whoa, because I didn't know if the music was going to be easy or not. It definitely was not, because at that point I was starting to get into like metal and I was doing a lot of like funk and stuff with my dad, but this was like something I had never experienced before. It was like everything I had taught myself had kind of gone out the window, and it was all about feel. It was all about like dynamics and flow. And it really taught me a lot. And from like age 15 to like, till now, I guess I've always just loved going to those churches and playing that music. And I would run into Eric Moore all over town too, because he was from Stockton. So I started seeing him at churches and started hanging out with him, going to his house and just having him rip my face off on the drums, and
so
just
cool.
Yeah, it was just a big growing experience for me, man. And I have such an appreciation for that music, and it really helped me, I guess, become the musician that I am today. So yeah,
that's so cool that you mentioned Eric Moore, because I've been following him on Instagram and stuff for like a while now, like, and just blown away, dude. Like, just dude, that guy is so sick. If you guys don't know who he is, look up Eric Moore, dude.
Yeah, man. Nuts. And I was just very fortunate meeting him at a young age, and then a couple years later running into him around town and stuff. Like, me and him, we just really connected. And he would, there was some times where I was at his house at like, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning. And he had this like pool house in the back that's literally just like a drumming empire, just drums stacked up all over the place, always has multiple kits set up. And he would just be like, oh, sit down. And then we would jam. And like I said, he would just annihilate me, rip my face off.
Don't they like battle and shit, right? There's like gospel.
There's drum battle, like gospel chops. Battle videos are so nuts, dude.
Well, it's funny because
Nate from Ontogeny, we would watch those when I'd go over his house, and he that was another thing that broke my head open to it more. Like, oh, this is something I should be paying attention to.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like I remember the first time. I mean, they, in that world they call it shedding, and I remember the first time I like sat down with Eric, just jamming with him, shedding, like in the middle of it, he like stopped me. He's just like, no. He's like, you're not like getting it. And the way he explained it to me is like, this is a conversation. It's not just you go super fast and then I go super fast and then you go super fast and then I go super fast. He's like, no, he's like, it's an answer and it's a call. It's a very advanced, so it was like at first as a young person, it was hard for me to grasp that. But, over time, I started to understand it more. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm still not great at any of that, but just like I said, being around him, it taught me just how to get into that mindset. And man, I always loved following all of those drummers, Thomas Pridgeon, Tony Royster Jr., Ronald Bruner Jr., all these guys. And then I was always like, well, I want to know the kind of music that they grew up playing. And that's what really got me excited about it. Cause I was like, man, like if you understand that flow and that dynamics, to me, at least, it made metal easier to understand, if that makes sense, you know.
And some of that influence in metal too.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Like that linear stuff, you know, like Naveen's really good at that.
Yeah,
and you are really good at that.
Oh,
and,
thank you.
You know,
I was just
Alex
watching
Rudinger or whatever, that I can't say his name, but yeah, Alex.
Yeah, Alex Rudinger.
I was just watching. Yeah, Rudy. I was just watching your 2012 sick drummer video of playing through Bladegrass Priesthood for Archaic, and you do a couple like linear fills in there that like fucking blew my mind. And so you can like if people watching want to check it out, like 2012 video, and you can see it 427. I might even pull up the video, fuck it. But anyway, it's a fucking perfect example of that style.
Just so people that aren't drummers know what we're talking about. How do you describe linear like stuff?
Linear, I guess I'm horrible with this stuff actually, but I guess the way to break down linear would be as you're doing a fill, most of the time each drum is getting hit by a different stick. So instead of doing like snare, 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 tom, 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 you might get a fill that's like snare, kick, tom, kick, hi-hat, kick, floor, tom, kick, bell. So that's why when you watch a lot of those drummers, you're watching them and it looks like they're constantly just have this like octopus movement because they're filling in a lot of these gaps with like the kick drum and stuff. But it's funny because I noticed growing up, I would try to ask a lot of these drummers I'd watch, I'd be like, what was that lick that you did? And they would be like, I don't know, like I just did it, you know? So it's funny because in that world, everything is all just about feel, you know, like when I would go and play in those churches, there was no rehearsal, there was no plan. They would just, I remember the very first time I played, there was an older lady who passed away now. Her name was Sister Gray. And yeah, I remember she just looked at me and she was like, you ever played in church before? And I'm like, no. And she's like, all right, baby, follow me on the 2 and the 4 and let's go. And that was it. And I was just like, I look like a deer in the headlights. But like I said, over time, I was able to kind of try to adapt. But man, I mean, it's a crazy world, man. But yeah, very inspiring. So I was doing that all growing up. And
did you
playing
take lessons? Too?
No, the only time I had taken lessons is I was in high school and I went to a local teacher named Dave Hawks, another phenomenal drummer. But I didn't go over any technique or anything with him. I just wanted him to show me what is eighth notes, what is quarter notes, what is 16th notes. So he was able to help me to get a basic understanding of what things looked like on paper, you know, because at that point, I was young. I didn't know if like maybe there might be a time later on in life where I'm maybe doing some kind of gig that requires sight reading or something like that. So I did a little bit of that, but aside from that, I never really did any other lessons. My teacher was YouTube growing up, and I was literally watching guys like you, Casey. Like it was just funny.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
I know, isn't that crazy how Joseph, did you have that same kind of situation? I mean, you're Alex, how old are you now?
20. That took me too long to answer. 28.
Yeah, you're supposed to start doing that when you're like 35, 36, like me.
It's all a blur.
I think you're lying, dude. I think you're really 40, dude. I think you're like shredding this whole time. Tricked everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was just also like YouTube was just becoming a thing in high school for me. But I think that 2 years difference, because I'm 30, that 2 years difference really made it to where you could get into YouTube right when. So for me, it was a lot of just downloading music. I was still buying music DVDs and like buying instructional DVDs. So just a couple years difference makes a difference in that technology or whatever, access to knowledge like that.
I used to have drum teachers give me cassette tapes to borrow or VHS tapes to go make a copy
back in
bring it back. And I had to walk 20 miles in the snow to get to my lesson.
Man. That's brutal.
In sandals.
I my dad
videos on Laserdisc.
Yeah, my first
I wish
DVD,
I had Laserdisc.
First DVD for me was Dave Weckl, and that was my dad had pushed me to get that, and that's still to this day one of my favorite drummers in the world.
I love Dave Weckl.
Yeah, but it was interesting because like I always had this natural, like I always naturally gravitated towards metal, but at the same time my dad was feeding me drummers like Dave Weckl, Buddy Rich, Dennis Chambers, Steve Gadd, like all of like the like Hall of Famer dudes. So it really had a big influence on me growing up. And then, yeah, just like Joseph was saying, it was like, let's see, I started playing when I was 11. I would say by like age 13, 14, I was like 24/7 YouTube, just anything I could get my hands on.
So when did you stumble across metal, and who was it?
Let's see. Well, I had an uncle that would always listen to like
everybody's got an uncle.
Yeah,
dude.
right. Yeah, it's always the
that was my uncle too, dude.
Yeah, well, he wasn't into like super heavy metal, but I had an uncle that we would drive around and he would play like Rammstein and Marilyn Manson. So I guess kind of more industrial, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But it, I mean, shoot, I mean, Rammstein still one of the heaviest bands ever. So it kind of gave me that taste where I was like, oh, like this is heavy, this is rad. And when it came to metal, I want to say I saw the video Wait and Bleed by Slipknot, which I was like, whoa, like I want to be a metalhead, so I got into like Slipknot and like a lot of like the new metal stuff,
Dude, we have an anomaly here, Joel.
I know. I was going to say that. So how old were you when you heard Slipknot? Because I was 15, 16. So that means that you must have been like -3 or something, right?
No, I mean, I wasn't listening to them when those albums had just come out. I was kind of a late bloomer.
Gotcha.
I mean, Wait and Bleed came out in 1999. I didn't start playing music until like 2003.
Okay.
But I was listening to Slipknot, and I want to say, what was it? Subliminal Verses might have just come out. Like they had just put out a record that was really big, which led me to go deeper into their older stuff. And I just became a huge Slipknot fan. So I fell in love with like Joey Jordison and all that stuff, like a lot of like the, I guess, new metal drummers or whatever. And I remember the thing that got me into like heavy metal after that was I was playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And one of the first songs that comes on the game, if you go to V-Rock in your car, it was Raining Blood by Slayer. And
nice. I remember that now.
Yeah. So I remember hearing that and I was like, what is that? Like, that's really cool. So I got into like Slayer. So I started getting into like thrash and all this, all this thrash and heavy metal. And then I started, at that time, Killswitch Engage was big. And I remember I wanted to go see Killswitch Engage live. So again, my dad, he came in the picture and he was like, well, I'll go and take you to see them in Fresno. This was in 2006, I believe. It was Killswitch Engage and All That Remains. And All That Remains had Tim Young on drums that night. And that was the night that really changed my life. Every single time I see Tim Young, I tell him, dude, you changed my life, because, I didn't really go there to see All That Remains, but I remember just being captivated by them just because of Tim Young. I had never heard kick drums that loud and consistent and like literally like kind of extreme drumming,
Was it when that like blue coat, I don't know what it's called, but I remember hearing, actually when being on tour with Odious, we were at some bar and they were playing that in between bands, and I was like, I've never heard like one of those emo metal bands with super double bass.
Yeah,
like it was double bass flying, dude. And
yeah,
you're like, wait,
exactly.
Okay.
And
that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, at that point I hadn't gotten to the heavy yet, so I heard the drumming, and that was the thing that caught me. And I remember after that night I looked up Tim Young and I just wanted to see his discography. I was like, man, like, where did this guy come from? What kind of music did he play? And then what do I see? Hate Eternal, what's that? Vital Remains, what's that? Nile, what is that? Decrepit Birth, what is that? So I started listening to all this stuff. And I remember I was in 7th grade. I was in computer class, so I probably should have been doing my work, but instead I was looking at all this, and the song And Time Begins came on. And that was the moment right there where I was
7th grade. Dude.
Yeah, I was in 7th grade. Yeah. Wow. So And Time Begins started. And at that point, I checked out Vital Remains. I checked out Decapitated, all that stuff. But that specific sound right there was the game changer for me. I was like, I already know I love death metal. I already know I love the extreme stuff, but like this is a different kind of extreme. This is all of the speed, all of the double bass, but it also has this musicality and technicality to it that just immediately grasped me. And actually, I'm wearing that shirt right now. And Time Begins.
Represent.
Yeah, because that's the album that changed my life. So I think at that point, it was like, it was Deeds of Flesh, Suffocation, Severed Savior, you name it, all those bands. And I just fell in love with that sound. And then, like I was saying in the beginning, the first like death metal show that I saw was when Decrepit Birth, The Faceless, and who else was it? Might have been like Veil Amaya or something.
Oh yeah.
Came
Was that
came
a Summer
to Modesto.
Slaughter?
No, it was
just that bill right there.
Yeah, Faceless headlining. And yeah, I remember just watching Casey and just like jaw dropped and like being like, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to play this extreme music. And then, yeah, you know, a couple years went by. I was getting ready to turn 18, and I was kind of thinking about going to Musicians Institute in Hollywood, California. But I was kind of torn. I was like, I don't know, like, you know, I have people in my ear saying, yo, that's what you need to do. You need to go like get your education and have like a backup plan and all this stuff. Cause you know, you might not tour. So you might need to be a music teacher and all this stuff. And I was like, man, like, I want to be like the guys that I see on stage. Like, I don't want to have a backup plan. Like, I just want to go all the way in and do it. So yeah, I'm like 18 and
you're already playing like metal styles and shit.
Yeah, I'm like,
dude.
Yeah, I'm like doing.
Dude, I toured with you 1 year later. Of course, he was playing that stuff.
I'm like doing like a lot of local band stuff. I got my own like tech
that's
bands
kind of
and
what I wanted to hear about a little bit. I don't want to jump over that too much. Name some local bands that you played with from that era or area and what styles.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man. Okay. I skipped over a lot, but I'm gonna try.
Or maybe your favorite one you played, like favorite local band that you played with before you started getting more serious with it.
Yeah, well, the local bands that I played with, they were like members of like the Fallujah guys. So like Rob and Antonio and all them. Like we had our first bands together when I was like 14. We had a band called the Scourge of Medusa. Which it was kind of more of like it was like deathcore-ish, but it was, you know, I don't know, I thought we were pretty good. We had crazy shows every weekend and stuff like that. But yeah,
that was recordings or anything.
Yeah, there is. You know what? I have recordings. I'm actually thinking about releasing them sometime soon.
Dude,
just for the nostalgia. Bro. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so Rob, he plays in Fallujah now. He plays bass for Fallujah. He lived right down the street from me. So to make a long story short, I saw his band play live in town. And I was like, man, like these kids are all young and they're just killing it. And they lost their drummer. And I can't remember how my name got thrown into the mix, but somehow it did. And I remember I just got a call from him and I thought there was going to be this like huge tryout and yada, yada, yada. I didn't know what to expect because like, I had never really been in like a metal band with like kids my age. And he just calls me and he's like, hey dude, you want to be in my band? And I'm like, yeah. So him and I, we got together and we started writing some like pretty good music. I mean, it was more kind of like along the lines of like that Suicide Silence, Whitechapel kind of vibe. Okay. But like I said, we were going out and playing really awesome, fun shows every weekend. We had a pretty big fan base locally for our area, you know? And then we kind of started to branch off. Like a couple of the members from that band, we started our own band called Valkyria, which was that was like very technical death metal. That was kind of like more Origin / Deeds of Fleshy. And then Rob ended up going and doing Fallujah. And then let's see, I went from that to again doing all the church stuff and doing local gigs. Basically the way I was before I was 18, I was like, anywhere I can play, I just want to go and play. I don't care if it's an open jam. So I would go to these open jams and played just kind of standard blues and jazz. I was like, I just, you know, as much as I can get out there. But fast forwarding to
you were 18 or so, you were
yeah
Yeah, and you jumped into Archaic at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, with the whole MI thing, like I said, I was kind of torn, but this is the exact time where I got an email from Craig, who was playing in Archaic, and he was like, "Yeah, man, we stumbled across your YouTube videos, and we were wondering if you would want to like come jam with the band." And at this point, I had taken like over a year off of metal. Like I was just literally just doing like church stuff, everything else that wasn't metal, drumming competitions. So I was a little like, I was like, man, like, am I even like physically like fit to do that? Like I haven't played a blast beat in like a year, but I ended up ultimately deciding to do it. I was like, yeah, I'll come and jam, and everything went great. And they like asked me to play with the band. And then shortly after that, that's when they're like, oh my gosh, like we got an offer to go tour with Cannibal Corpse to open for them. And this was the 2012 Torture tour. Their album Torture had just come out. And that was like the tour that really kicked off everything for me as far as like meeting people. And I mean, man, it was like, it just was like a snowball effect after that.
Had you toured at like that at all before that?
I did right when I turned 18, I went out with a hardcore band from LA that I don't know if they're still together anymore. It was a band called Through This Defiance. But that was a very, very rough tour. That was just, just like everybody's first rough tour. It was like, man, like I didn't know touring was like this hard and this brutal,
I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
But, no, you're all, what's school all about now? I need to go back to school.
Yeah. No, I mean, it kind of like, it was like I hit the ground running, and I was like, whoa, okay, that was kind of crazy. But it was a good experience. I don't regret it at all. But when the Archaic tour happened, that was the first.
Wait. So you're like almost first tour was with Cannibal?
Yes. Yeah. I had that one tour with the LA band, and
so you got like got the contrast right in the beginning. You got what it could be like and what it should be like.
Exactly.
So cool.
Yeah. It was like, because I mean, the first one, man, I mean, it was rough. I mean, it was a good band, and I love all the people that I played with. But I mean, they'll even tell you. I ran into one of the members recently at this last NAMM show, and even that person was like, dude, yeah, that tour was rough. But anyways, the Cannibal Corpse tour happened. We were the opening band, and dude, we just had the time of our lives, man. I mean, I love the Archaic guys. I love them so much, man. They're like brothers to me. They're playing that music every night was so challenging, man. And it really, really, again, another thing that made me the musician that I am today. I mean, my gosh, it was just, I have nothing but great things to say about the whole experience. And then the next tour that we did was with you, Anthony. That was the Severed Savior tour.
Yeah, which is kind of in the middle of that. It should be, could be. It's like, we kind of hovered in the middle.
No, it was, dude. I mean, it is. Yeah. I mean, to me, it was still, everything was still amazing no matter what. Because I mean, I'm a huge Severed Savior fan. So watching you guys play live, just being on a package like that was all just like technical, brutal death metal. Like, to me, I was in heaven. Like, it didn't really matter at that point if it was like one person in the crowd or 10,000 people in the crowd. Like, I remember watching you guys play, and not to like blow smoke or anything, but like, I mean, honestly, man, it was like, I just remember it was those inspiring things to me, man, of just being like, wow, like this is how tight a band could be. This is how talented.
Dude, I had the same exact opinion of you guys the first time I had seen you, which was at the Winters Tavern show in Pacifica. That was the first night that Joseph was at. Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
Fun show. And but going out there as this guy who has a couple of albums under his belt, he's already done a tour, he's older. And then you come out and you see the guys who are playing right underneath you, and they're like, oh, we're nipping at your fucking ankles right now, bro. You better fucking keep running. because we're going to catch up and we're going to pass you up if you don't fucking keep running, you know?
We're hungry kids, man, just hungry.
Yeah, dude. And Ivan, and seeing Ivan in there with you guys, and just, you guys had a whole fucking like tight package. You were coming right off that Cannibal tour. Like,
yeah.
You guys were hot, bro. You guys were coming in hot. So it was like making me really like want to be on my game every night, you know, because we're the fucking headliners of this fucking tour, you know, and the guys who are, you know, supporting us are showing us like, yo, this is how you stay in the pocket, you know. So, and watching you play every night too, I was just like, who's this fucking kid, dude? Who's this fucking Alex? I'm like, dude, watching you play, I was like, he's fucking gonna be somebody, dude. Like that dude is going on to bigger and better things. After that tour, I knew for sure, Alex, you had the stuff, dude.
Thank you.
And here we are, dude.
Crazy, man.
2021, but let's not jump too far ahead. Let's keep going. So our kick,
can I follow up real fast on just why you took a year off playing metal, like before you were turning 18? I was just wondering why.
I just kind of decided to dive head in with everything else, you know. I think at that point I had played metal for a good amount of years, you know. I mean, well, you know, I was still young, so maybe age 13 to that age, which I guess that seemed like a lot of time to me. But I guess to sum it all up, I was a little bored with metal and I wanted to challenge myself in other ways, you know. So I was like, I want to go all the way in with like church music and jazz and, you know, all that stuff. And it's funny how the universe kind of slapped me in the face with Archaic shortly after, like, oh, you're getting bored with metal. We'll give you a little something. And then all of a sudden I was playing with Archaic every night, just like, oh my gosh, I can't.
And you guys had the Metamorphignition material that you guys were playing, but it wasn't released yet. Or maybe it was getting released while we were on the road or something like that. I don't remember the release date of that one.
I believe it had, we used the Cannibal Corpse to kind of leverage that. So it was out, but we were still, I was still adjusting to playing those songs and even Archaic's older stuff too, like Reflections Within Dissonance. It was just crazy for me to go from like what I was doing back into metal and in such an extreme way, you know, but I'm glad though, because I feel like that's what really kind of made Metamorphignition what it was as far as the drumming goes, because when I was recording that record, I was still in the total mindset of like the gospel approach and like a lot of Latin music and stuff too. So like, it wasn't that I was like trying to do that. That's just what was naturally coming out of me. I mean, it was like, like I listened back to that record and I'm like, man, I didn't realize at the time how much like linear stuff was in there and just kind of weird little Latin beats that, you know, that was the language I was trying to speak at the time.
And watching it every night was a treat, dude.
Oh, thank you.
No shit, man. Dude. I'm not bullshitting you. It was fucking, I tried to make it a point to where I could watch, be in an angle to where I can catch everybody. Cause I mean, at that time, dude, you guys were the whole stage show was rad, dude.
Fucking, thank you, man. Yeah.
Everybody had energy, dude.
Yeah. I mean, Craig, Chance, Jared, and Ivan. I mean, dude, I was thrown in the deep end with them, you know, and it really, I mean, I don't know, as cliche as it sounds, I mean, it really changed my life, really. Cause like, if I wasn't able to play with musicians at that caliber, I don't know where I would be today, you know, like it just was awesome playing with a band that encouraged me to play outside of the box, you know, like do whatever, you know, they're like, we're progressive death metal, like break the rules. And that was always the mindset that I had, is like, I wanted to kind of be a rule breaker, you know? So it was definitely a perfect match. And so we ended up doing that tour with you guys. We did a couple more, and then, you know, Archaic started to kind of have, you know, members kind of going in and out, and, you know, life happens. So, you know, it's could be hard for someone to totally commit to playing death metal, as we all know. So, you know, we started to kind of have members come and go and all that. And then I started to get hit up by other bands that I was like, man, that would be cool to play with this band. It'd be cool to play with this band, especially when Archaic wasn't really doing anything at the time. You know, I guess it kind of slowed down as far as the touring goes, but we were always still like writing and stuff. So during that slow time, that's when, let's see, I met a guitar player named Sean Glass, who used to play with Broken Hope. When I met him, he was playing with Broken Hope, but he is kind of like, he knows everybody and he has been around everybody. Like he goes back to like the Dimebag Darrell days. Like he's like an OG. Sure. And everybody kind of calls him the Tyler Perry of metal. Like he just always knows what's going on. But anyways, I met him. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm skipping ahead. I'm trying to get this timeline right. Okay, so I did Archaic, and then I met Sean Martinez, who played with Rings of Saturn. He asked me to do a Rings of Saturn tour with them, and then after I did that Rings of Saturn tour, that's when he hit me up to play with Decrepit Birth, because he also played with Decrepit Birth. That's what happened. And then I met Sean Glass. I'm sorry, I'm fumbling over here.
Good. It's all good.
Yeah, a lot happened. But so anyways, yeah, I Decrepit Birth, I mean, to me, when I had that opportunity, I was like a kid in heaven. I was like, that's one of my favorite bands in the world. Of course I'll do it. Because Samus, I think at the time, Samus, their drummer, I think he was starting to go to college or something. I think he was going to become an accountant for a little while. So they needed somebody. And Sean Martinez, like I said, he was the bass player, and he pitched for me. You know, he was like, hey, there's this kid that he plays with Archaic. He just filled in with this Rings of Saturn tour and yada, yada, yada. We should give him a try. So I went up to Matt Sotelo house in Santa Cruz. We jammed, had a great time. And then I went out and did a US tour with Decrepit Birth. And that's where I met Sean Glass, because he was playing with Broken Hope. It was Decrepit Birth, Broken Hope, and Obituary. And Sean Glass was always super, super cool to me. Like he would invite me on their tour bus, and he just always wanted to chat and hang out. And
that was DNA Lounge in San Francisco, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that show. I was there.
Yep. Yeah. You were there with Dan Kenny, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
So did that tour. And then I went to Europe with Decrepit Birth. And it was Decrepit Birth, Cattle Decapitation, and Cryptopsy. And again, sick. I was just in heaven, you know, playing with one of my favorite bands and going overseas for the first time. It was great. And then after that, that's when Sean Glass started to call me a lot. And he just started to be like, hey, I heard this and this is happening. I heard this and this is happening. And then he called. Yeah,
I'm trying to see what would be like a good analogy for or metaphor for that guy, like scout. He's like, or is he like an agent almost? Like
kind of, but just like a really cool guy. I mean, I love totally. The guy. Yeah, like
is he the one that did he hook you up with Eric Peterson from Testament?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's actually the next part of the timeline. I'm trying to think of it in like a timeline so I don't screw it up.
In a linear fashion.
Yeah. But he calls me and he goes, hey, Eric Peterson is looking for a drummer for his side project. It's called Dragon Lord. It's like a black metal band. And I was like, yeah, right on. I was like, I'm down to check it out. So I went and jammed with Eric, and it was like, it was perfect. You know, we had a great time and had a lot of fun. And I ended up doing this record with him. And I remember that was another point in my life, like an experience that changed my life, because at that point I had just got off the road with Decrepit Birth and I was starting to feel really good about myself. And he just knocked me all the way down again, because like, I thought like, oh, this is going to be easy. And working with someone like him, it wasn't easy, because like, I don't know, he's very particular with like fills and like locking things up with guitar. And I had never learned that at that point. So he started teaching me basically how he taught all the other drummers that he worked with. I mean, if you look at any of the drummers that have worked with him, they all say the same thing, that Eric Peterson made them a better drummer. And that's Dave Lombardo, Nicholas Barker, Gene Hoagland, all of those guys. So immediately I was like, okay, I get what you guys are saying, because it was like, it would get frustrating at times, but in like a good way, you know. It was like he would really push me. So
no pain, no gain.
Yeah. I did the Dragon Lord record. I wanted to slam my head against a wall, but the record ended up coming out great. I loved it. And then it was funny because at that point, Dragon Lord riffs started to churn into Testament riffs, where he was like, hey, I got a Testament riff. I just wanted to try it out with you, you know, because Gene Hoglan is everywhere. He's playing with Death Clock. He's playing with you name it. And I just happened to always be there. So he would invite me out to his house, Eric Peterson would, and it went from like one Testament riff to another, to a Testament song, then another song. And then before you knew it, it was like, oh shoot, like I'm kind of like this ghostwriter for Testament, which was really exciting for me. And the entire time it was like I was going to school, you know, like learning all of these like kind of old school tricks from this guitar player that, you know, anyways, he taught me a lot. And that's what ended up leading to me playing with Testament. And then Battlecross was a whole nother experience as well.
You said Ghost wrote, so those were performed by somebody else on record, but you wrote those beats.
Yeah, so the last Testament record, not the last one, but the one before that, Brotherhood of the Snake. Yeah, I mean, every single song from that record was all ghost written by me. Well, I can't say I didn't come up with every single part, but I was basically just kind of like, you know, play this, play that. And like I said, Eric is very particular. Like there's not one fill that gets on a Testament record that he does not go through to a T, you know? So, but I was happy to do it, you know, and it's cool because now Gene Hoglan, he always shouts me out and gives me credit and all that, but he ended up recording the record. And I just at a young age had the experience to be a part of the record behind the scenes. So yeah, I did that, played with Battlecross, and toured with Battlecross for a while. Ended up playing I played a festival where Battlecross and Testament were on the same stage, or not same stage, but same festival. So I did like a crazy
double duty thing.
Yeah. Damn. In like 2015. That was gnarly. And then shoot, man. Fast forward.
Do you want to dig? There's a couple things.
Sure. I'll shut up. I'm talking too much. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
It's awesome.
One thing I wanted to ask you when you're talking about, you know, the Latin and gospel stuff coming into metal, do you know anyone else who was using a cowbell in their death metal set live, or was that something you brought in just from your own?
Troy Full? Oh, no, maybe no, he didn't have that. No, Troy didn't have the cowbell.
I mean, I had never seen it. I'm sure there's probably some guys that do, but I was just at that time, I was very into drummers. Like one of my favorite Latin drummers in the world is a guy named Horacio El Negro Hernandez. And he was all like cowbells and claves and stuff. And I was like, well, I love what he's doing. I love that sound. So I just brought it into what I was doing, you know, because you know, I would watch drummers like Derek Roddy when he played with Hate Eternal. I noticed he had this little like extra, he always seemed to be adding like extra little percussion things and playing with it over death metal. So I kind of took that idea and was like, well, I could probably do that with like some claves and cowbells, and it's different and it's what I like right now. So I just kind of did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always felt like the Latin metal crossover thing is something that hasn't been taken as far as it could be taken. Like that was kind of big with Atheists back in the day. The Florida scene. But then it kind of didn't go as far as it could have gone with, and a lot of other elements of fusion and other music got picked up into death metal, but the Latin stuff kind of didn't. So I was like fucking sick that you were doing it. And you know, so.
Do you remember like that, like, well, I mean, when it came out, but I Monarch, like that beat that Derek was doing, like
I still watch all those videos of him in the studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that's the stuff that inspired me, is watching guys like Derek Roddy and Nicholas Barker. Like I was always drawn to the drummers that were still like fast and powerful, but we're just kind of like a little different. Like I always have been drawn to taste, and maybe that's just because, like, you know, growing up on like Dave Weckl and stuff, I'm like, man, I love like the blast beats and all that, but like I want a little bit of that spice in there too. So I'd look for those guys. And yeah, Derek Roddy definitely stood out to me. I was like, I want to be like that. Like I want to try to be diverse and dynamic, you know?
I've definitely noticed, like, going back in your career and everything that you're talking about, that you're like the ultimate example of someone that's just been trial by fire, like thrown in the fucking Cannibal Corpse. Like, I don't even know your nerves. Like,
it's like gnarlier than Gabe Sieber, dude.
Yeah, it's like, so I mean,
Gabe is amazing. I love Gabe
going
Sieber.
back into that tour, like, because you only did one small tour before that, and you hadn't really played with Archaic that much yet, right?
Yeah, I mean, except for just our rehearsals, you know. But
so
I hadn't.
You went from rehearsal to Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Jesus, God, what was that like? What was your like perception? I mean, you're jumping into a professional tour, like, you know, what most bands have probably done, like 5 or 6 tours to get to something like that.
How many
how was that
bands
like
have opened for Cannibal, you think? There's been a lot, dude.
Oh, Unique Leader bands? Yeah, I know. They've Alex Webster's like big on recruiting like bands that he's way into from Unique Leader and stuff, I've noticed. But like,
I think he's the one that got us on that tour, actually.
Definitely.
Yeah, because Sever, Deeds, Archaic.
But how was that like going from like, you know, into that professional tour circuit? You got set times. Did you get sound checks because you were the opening band? I mean, how did that all work? Did you just got thrown to the fire, like, all right, get your shit up there and fucking go play in front of all these people and just make it happen, like your first show?
You know, we were the first band on the bill, so we were able to like that was kind of nice. We were able to like set our gear up in front of all theirs, and we were able to get like a 5-minute sound check, if that. So to me, I was like, I just want to make sure my triggers are working, and whatever happens. Totally. Just like most death metal drummers, you know, when you're in that situation. But I mean, Cannibal treated us great. I mean, their tour manager was awesome to us. Like, we had a really, really good time on that tour, man. I mean, the Cannibal guys would like just come up to our van and be like, hey, we're all hanging out in the tour bus, like, come hang out. And we'd be like, what, you know? And that was another thing that taught me at a young age, like, I want to be cool like these guys. Like, if I'm ever in a position where like I'm the headliner or whatever, like, I want to be the guy that goes to like the opening band and is like, dude, come hang out, like, make yourself comfortable, because that's what they did for us. And awesome, yeah, dude. You know, like, I mean, like I said, playing that music every night was kicking my butt, but I was having a great time. And the Archaic guys, I mean, we're like family, like brothers, you know. We'd have barbecues out in the middle of nowhere. Yep. Dude, you know.
Yep. We did that too. With you guys.
Yeah,
we'd fucking just find a fucking rest stop, or like there'd be just like little barbecue pits off the side, and just fucking sit there in the dark. And
I literally had a barbecue with the Archaic guys a week ago. Yes. Yeah, because they just moved out. Dude. They're out in Watsonville now. So Shara and Jared just moved out there, so they got this humongous backyard, and it's pretty much bi-weekly. There's a barbecue there. Just
nice.
Just get, you know.
Sounds like I need to make it down to Watsonville.
Oh yeah. Just come. Yeah, you come stay here. We'll go Uber down there and just eat some steaks, brother.
Yeah.
Joseph, when's the next time you're going to be in Santa Cruz?
Probably late this month, actually, in like 2 or 3 weeks. So
nice.
Yeah, might be time for the first Cali Death get together. Well, second
this summer, definitely, dude. We need to do something.
Oh man,
I don't know. We got to get all 4 of us hosts together.
Sick dudes, all 3 of you guys. Dude.
Yeah, you know. Well, I gotta
get Casey.
I'll come up, man. I'll come up.
Yeah, dude.
We'll FaceTime you.
I'm only like 8 hours away. It's cool.
Where are you living now, Casey?
Oh yeah,
I live in Oceanside.
Okay.
San Diego.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something stupid, but I just changed my mind. Yeah.
I live in.
My brain's fried from work.
Live in Arkansas, brother.
Yeah. Where are you living now, though? Because you're East Coast now. So
yeah, I just moved to Orlando, Florida.
That's right.
When was it? October, I believe.
Is that where the Trivium guys all live? I know we're jumping ahead to Trivium, but is that where all those guys are living, or?
Yeah, they're all out here in Orlando. With everything going on with the band right now, the guys hit me up and they're like, "Yeah, it would make a lot of sense for you to be out here." And you know, I was like, "Man, you know, can't argue with that, you know," because I mean, we love California. All of our family and friends are out here. So it was kind of like thinking about that, like, man, like I never planned on leaving California, but like this was when the pandemic just started happening. And Paolo, our bass player, he had moved from Chicago to Orlando. So it was like, hey man, like you're the only one. Yeah, you're the only one all the way out there. And if you can get out here, we could do a lot of like cool stuff. So we ended up going, you know what, we're in. So we drove across the country and now we're here, man.
So jumping back to Trivium and stuff. So I mean, so is that the next part of your timeline? I know it was did that one agent guy introduce you to Matt and all those people, or how did you get in contact with Trivium to start jamming with them?
Let's see here.
Because you've been with them for a few years now. It's been like what, 6 or 7 years, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm trying to think. I'm having a brain fart here.
With a list like yours, dude, I'm surprised you've gotten this far without.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. So I do Battlecross, and then I end up going home for a little bit after that, and I get a call. Some stuff happened in between. I ended up going out and touring with Angel Vivaldi, and then Gus G. Yeah, I did that tour, which
damn,
that was another. Another tour that kicked my butt, but in a really good way. I mean, I was doing 2 sets a night, playing a lot of music. Having a lot of fun, man. That was a super fun tour. And then I get home and I'm kind of like, well, dang, like now what? You know, like the dust is kind of settling. I'm like, you know, maybe I'm going to go back out with Archaic. This is kind of like 2016. And then I get Sean Glass calls me, you know, Tyler Perry of metal. He gives me a call. Jolt. Yeah. And he goes, hey man, he's like, Trivium might need a drummer and I need you to have 2 videos to me by tomorrow if you're interested in the gig. And I was like, well, yeah, of course, you know, like that'd be great. I didn't want to give my hopes up, but I was like, yeah. So that day I learned 2 songs. I learned a song from them called Rain, and then I learned another song called Until the World Goes Cold. Rain was like kind of faster, and then Until the World Goes Cold is kind of like their slower, bigger, I guess, radio-friendly song. I sent in the videos for that, and then after I sent in the videos, that's when I started to really get a little, I don't know, get the butterflies, because I started thinking about it and talking to Christina about it and going, man, like if this does go through, this could really be like a crazy change to our life. You know, this might be, this might work out. But again, I was trying not to give my hopes up. And I remember Sean Glass texted me and was like, hey, the guys watched the video. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, did they like it? Or are they interested in someone else? And he was like, oh, they loved it. And yeah, he's like, just kind of stay tuned or whatever. And I was like, okay. And then I got a text from a number I didn't recognize, and it was the bass player, Paolo. I think that's what happened. He texted me and was like, hey, is it cool if I call you tonight? And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So I got a call from him, and then I talked to him for a little bit. And like right off the bat, he was like, hey, man, he's like, we've like seen you play with Battlecross and stuff. Like, we know who you are, but, you know, I think he said they were actually thinking about reaching out to me when like around that time, but they didn't want to like take me from Battlecross or anything like that, which is totally understandable. But he was like, yeah, like we love your playing, like you obviously can play our songs, but we're more interested in like, where's your head at, you know, like, you know, so we kind of want to just hang out with you and jam. So he was like, in 2 weeks, are you down to fly out here and hang out and jam with us? And I was like, yeah, or might've been a couple more weeks, I don't know, but that was basically what he said. He was like, do you want to come hang out? So I flew out to Florida. I jammed with them and it went great. And yeah, we just got along. We did the European tour. And after that European tour, that was like, they were like, dude, like, let's do this, you know,
so after that, you're full time.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they were stoked. And I think that was kind of like the big test, you know, because just like all you guys know from being touring musicians, it's like, I mean, anybody could play, but like, can you live with somebody and can you write with somebody? And, you know how it is. So yeah. After that tour, we started putting together the record, The Sin and the Sentence. And we did that in LA. I can't remember the name of the studio off the top of my head, but yeah, we did that record. And that was kind of my introduction to the world, I guess, with Trivium. you know.
Definitely.
And now
how was that crossover going from like, you know, more brutal technical bands to more like in the pocket? I mean, they still have awesome drumming, especially that new fucking album that I heard you play on. It's fucking awesome, man. I love that's like, it's almost like relatable to when Cali brought on Dave McGraw.
Yeah.
For me, it's like once Dave McGraw came into the mix, I was like, I love this band. This is like one of my favorite bands now. You know, something about having the right drummer in a band like that just totally fits. And I saw you actually opening with or you guys were headlining. It was a switch. You guys were doing the switcheroo with Arch Enemy over in Sacramento.
Right.
Yeah. And that was, I was like, I watched you. And I was
hate
like, damn.
to interrupt you right now, dude, but I just got a text that the feed is blacked out.
Feed's blacked out? Let's see. No, it's not.
I'm watching us live and it's not.
All right.
I'm hearing myself talk right now.
Sorry, dude.
No, I think we're good.
I just freaked out for a second. Got that text. You guys
remember
make sure that
actually like I know that's a little worrisome. Whatever. We'll release it no matter what.
When I was like, damn, we're already an hour into this. Like, fuck,
the whole thing's been blacked out the entire time.
I know. It's just all jarbled.
People in the chat are saying feed is good. So feed is good.
Right on.
But
yeah, remember from the beginning again. Let's start over.
Yeah. Just make sure.
I know, from the top. Here we go.
Just joking. Yeah. All right,
watching you live actually was just literally like, I was like texting you while you were playing so you get it after. I'm like, dude, you're like the man now, dude. Like I was like dude,
you,
like
man.
it's because, you know, like, you know, there's certain people from the group of death metal that we come from over in California. It's like you, Dan Canny, that have just kind of taken it to the next tier, and they're, you know, opening for like, you know, humongous bands, playing for fucking, you know, doing what we always dreamed of as kids doing, and you're one of the few of that group that has, you know, moved on and progressed to that upper echelon of fucking like being a fucking rock star now, like pretty much. I mean, you're the nicest one available.
Grammy nominated.
Grammy nominated.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus. Lord,
right,
dude.
Alex? Last Grammy round, you guys were nominated.
Yeah, 2019, man, and that was surreal for all of us, you know. Yeah, it was crazy, man, just being at the Grammys and being like, oh, there's Cardi B, there's I think one of the Kardashians was there, the one that's young and super duper rich. What's her name? I think it's either Kylie or I don't know. Anyway, yeah, all of them. Yeah, but I was
not the broke one.
Yeah,
not the 100 millionaire.
Yeah, but yeah, just looking around, that was crazy, man. I never imagined I'd be there, but I mean, yeah.
Awesome.
Was there any sick parties or anything after that you guys went to?
We went to an after party, but it wasn't like it was kind of more. It was like a nomination appreciation party. Like everyone's dressed in fancy suits and there's like an open bar and there's like, you know, I don't know the name of them, but they're like these dancers that are like in the ceiling, but you know, they're like swinging on all these like weird, if I could see the chat, maybe someone would be able to help me. But anyways, it was cool. It was awesome. But like, I mean, it was just, yeah, it was crazy to be there. It didn't hit me until after, like, whoa, we were at the Grammys, you know. We had a lot of fun, and like just being there, like I was like, when we were there, we were all kind of in the mindset of like, we're not really thinking about winning or losing. We're just kind of like, we're here. This is insane, you know. And that's the awesome thing about playing with Trivium is like they all have that like mindset where they're like super hungry, super inspiring. And yeah, I mean, being in a band where like they're all into like extreme metal too, that's another cool thing, is like we all relate. Like Matt loves everything that I love, all of them do. We all love.
The vocalist was in a fucking band on Willowtip, Capernaum.
Yeah, with Jason Sukoff, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah, I mean, they're all into it, and when I came into the mix, they were kind of just like, do you know. So I was like, okay, you know, I'll try, you know. And it's cool because like Matt and I we're like into the really, really extreme stuff. So like him and I, when we're writing, it's like all blast beats, it's all brutality. And the cool thing is Paolo, our bass player, he's the one that knows how to take what we're doing and trim all the fat off of it and be like, okay, this is how we can make like a song that like more people will be able to relate to, you know. And Corey's just kind of like the riff king. He's always coming up with killer riffs and solos and stuff. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like we all balance each other out, you know, to make the music that we want to make and make music that appeals to the fans as well, you know.
Definitely,
totally, dude.
Definitely. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of your. I mean, actually, you're now you do the live streams and stuff with drums and with like Warzone and shit like that. And I noticed that. I mean, Matt Heafy's got like one of the most popular streams like on fucking Twitch right now, right? Like his streams are like, I went and like randomly watched one. It was like 20,000 people watching or something. I was like, what the fuck, dude? But,
yeah, it's awesome. Man. Yeah, I mean, he's really like one of the main pioneers of that. Because I mean, Twitch, I remember the first time I saw him on Twitch was when we were in the studio recording the Sin in the Sentence, and I was kind of like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm like playing games for people. And you know, at that time he might have been playing for 25 or 30 people or something like that, but he just really stuck with it. Like he was like, this is what I want to do. I want to grow this channel and I want to make this like a whole thing. And now it's crazy seeing how many musicians have gone onto that platform now, you know. It's cool to see, you know, because I remember seeing Matt.
Is he giving his, you can just hear him talking while he's playing. He's talking to an audience. It's like commentary type deal, but while he's playing, or is he just people watching him play?
I think at that time it was just people watching him play, but he was like, you know, getting a lot of gear and all that. Like he's like a tunnel vision kind of guy. And it's like when you're around him, you could see it. You're like, oh, this guy's like, going.
Oh, thanks for the fucking kickback JJ71 or whatever.
Yeah.
With like, cause don't you get like tips and shit on that? Can't you?
Yeah. Well, he's taught me a lot with that whole world. Cause now he has it down to like a T. Like back then, at least from what I remember, I think he was just playing some games and there was some people watching. But now you look at his setup, he's constantly communicating with people. And he taught me really like how to engage and stuff. Cause I remember he'd asked me for a while, or he told me you should start your own Twitch. And I was kind of like, like, I don't know. But then I ended up deciding to do it. And I remember my first Twitch stream, I was like, I don't really know what to do. I was like, I don't know, you guys want to see some paradiddles or something? Like, I don't know. I was like in Europe and I had a drum pad and he really just was kind of like, dude, just like do what you always do when you don't have a camera on. You practice. Why not stream your practice? You know,
totally.
You play games. Why not stream your games? And now it's cool because like pretty much the entire band streams now, and we're able to all get on there and play games with each other. And Matt's always hooking me up with like super sick gear. He gave me this microphone. He gave me these lights that I'm using now because he's so streamed out, you know. He has like a streaming laboratory in his house, you know. It's cool.
So in the hangar that you guys are building, is that going to be a central streaming station?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, his setup at home, dude, is like, I mean, if you're any Twitch streamer or anything like that, he's pretty much got the best setup. He's got like cameras on his hand because he'll play video games and do stuff, but he'll also like jam and just interact with people and stuff like that. He'll have a camera on his hands, he'll have a camera on his face, he'll have like the whole thing going at once. You have different angles and stuff, and he'll ask people what you want to hear and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, this guy's like pretty much a revolutionary for musicians.
Joel, dude, why don't you start streaming and fucking have people laughing at your fucking,
he is
just streaming
murked all the time, dude.
When you see something like that and you see someone that ahead of the curve, it's like basically like, I mean, for me at this age, it'd be like me hearing Slayer for the first time, and then like, and then next week you hear like some like Spawn of Possession, and you're like, what the fuck is that, dude? Like, I can't do that. Like, it's too much time has passed. I'm fucked now. But no, I mean, you could just tell also too by his personality is so fucking like, you know, he's so like nice and cool, and it seems like you just know him just hanging out with him. It's kind of creepy. You're just like, oh, that's my friend now, even though I never met you. You know?
No, he has a way. He has a way to make everyone around him feel comfortable, you know, and it's cool to. I always try to absorb all that with whoever I play with or whoever I'm around, and being around that all the time is great. You know, just being around guys, like I said, that are very kind, very humble, and very like hungry. I'm like, yeah, like this is awesome. Like I'm super fortunate to be able to grow and learn with these guys, you know. So
and
yeah,
actually, man. In you too. I mean, watching your streams and stuff. I mean, from back when we used to hang out back in the day, you were very quiet. You weren't very talkative back then. And I mean, that's just how it was. And I watch you on these streams now, and you're like, hey, what's going on, everyone? Hey, hey. And I'm like, oh shit. I could tell that like you've progressed and evolved, and definitely have I think that streaming has really brought you out of your shell. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I could definitely just see it, you know, from what I've seen from you over the years.
Yeah, it totally. I mean, I think you nailed it on the head there. Cause I mean, I always saw myself as like, oh, like I could just be in the back and play drums and I don't have to talk to anybody. And I mean, I ended up, man, I remember when I did my first press tour with Trivium. I didn't even know bands do press tours. I guess they do. I was like, we went to New York City and we were going to all these places where they're doing like interviews and all this stuff to build, you know, press and hype for the new record. And oh my gosh, I cannot watch those interviews at all because I was not, I wasn't used to like, it was, if you ever watch any of those interviews, you'll probably laugh because they're just like, so Alex, and you did this and this and the record. And like, how do you feel about that? And I'd just be like, good. And then everyone would just start like laughing, like, really? Like, that's your answer? So I had to learn how to do interviews and break out of my shell. And especially with Twitch. I'm sure my first Twitch streams were probably just as awkward, but I've been able to get more comfortable, you know, because I want to make other people feel comfortable, you know.
We definitely, Anthony and I have definitely, our interview cherry was popped when we were like blacked out drunk at Maryland Death Fest. And it's on Metal Injection.
It is
ODS Mortem and stuff, and I don't even remember doing the interview, and we're 22. I think we're 22 years old. Yeah, and like we're just fucking wasting. The guy's like, "Hey, come over, like the camera and stuff, and the microphones and stuff." And I watched it when it came out, and I was like, "Jesus Christ!" I'm glad. I mean, it's still up there, and when people pull it up, I'm like, you shouldn't do that. It's like, and we're just making shit up, and I'm like kind of fucking with the reporter guy, and then the next morning then when that gets released like a month later, I'm just like, gee, I need to hone my craft with talking.
But here we are like putting 3 hours of conversation and us, you know, talking out of our butts.
We've grown up a little bit. Back then we were like, because we were so nervous playing those kind of shows, you know, Maryland Death Fest. We were kind of like you jumping into that Cannibal tour. We were like, we played like a small tour before, and all of a sudden we're playing in front of all these people and all these elitist people too that are very picky about what they hear. And you know, we all just got drunk before we played, and we're all freaked out.
We got even more drunk after.
Got more drunk after. Then people put microphones and cameras in front of us, and that was
I mean, it really is. Also, you want to turn it up to 11 when you're at Maryland Death Fest, dude. You're like, I'm here all weekend. You know, we're playing one day, and then the rest of the day it's like selling merch and partying and mingling and fucking. Oh, I met this dude from this band. I met this dude from this band, and then you get too drunk to where you're like. Let's see what happens when we do this in the merch room, and you're like, we shouldn't have done that.
We had Ivan in the band at that time too, so just imagine. Ivan was I was playing guitar, Ivan was on bass for Odious, and
that's like a short-lived Odious, like a solid but short-lived Odious lineup.
Definitely. That was actually kind of like some of the last shows we played live was with Ivan, I think so. Around that time. But that was that's definitely
tough for you were saying.
Well, I mean, also for me, I mean, for everyone, we definitely, you know, we had bad sound, whatever. It was kind of like, you know, that's what I was wondering about the.
Oh, you're saying just that set specifically? Yeah,
dude, damn it, we're talking about this set again. It's such a joke, dude. For the 7th time on the podcast, yes, we train wrecked at Maryland Death.
No, I didn't even bring that up. Just because you had to pee.
I'm just fucking with you. I love you.
I didn't hear anything about a train wreck, but that sounds like a crazy story.
I'm just yanking Joel's chain, dude. I'm just.
So now we train wrecked at Maryland Death Fest too. I was going to try to leave that out. But
all the other train wrecks were in rehearsal studios. That was in front of the biggest crowd we ever played.
But then when we came back with Decrepit the first time, because that was Odious 2007, and then we came back like the next year with Decrepit. And I was just like, don't fuck up. Like, I was all serious.
That's Sonar Stage.
He's coming back for
we didn't fuck up. It was great.
It's all good. my second show I ever played with Archaic, I had one of the worst train wrecks of my life. We had to get to Florida, really? So we played a couple shows on the way, and I remember it was in, I want to say it was Dallas, Texas. You know, I played the first show. I was like, oh, I got this. Like, let's rock. And then I forgot the song in the middle of the song, and literally the whole band just stops. This is the most awkward train wreck ever. And I just hear one guy, boo.
Yeah. There was always one guy in the audience who's all boo.
Yeah, he was like, oh, dude, you guys had me on adrenaline for a while. Now I don't have any more adrenaline, dude.
Yeah. Worse is with Decrepit one time. I think we train wrecked and the crowd didn't even know. And I'm like, that's kind of fucked up. like we're so tech
you
that
saved
you
it.
Can't even tell train wreck.
I remember screwing up the end of In Time Begins in fucking New Mexico.
Yeah,
in Albuquerque. And then like we had this big argument.
No, you're
no, that was a different show. That I gave myself a black eye one night. That was different with a drumstick. Shit. Well, it was just the in your ears.
Right in there. Oh.
Yeah, that was fun. But no, we were playing like the Gathering of the Sick or whatever, like that fest. You know, that was always that one. You know, and we were like everything was great. Then just like the end of In Time Begins came, and I don't know what the fuck happened. I mean, it was totally my fault for sure. I take full responsibility on that one. But 1, 2, 3 became 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. You know, and fucking all of a sudden, Matt's over here, Joel's over here, Bill's over here, and Matt was not stoked after.
those 28 people were super bummed.
Yeah, dude.
Was that double duty? That was a double duty or some shit?
No, it's just.
I don't think so. I think it was just Decrepit.
Oh, you guys have done.
Oh, there's no excuse. Multiple? I totally fucked it up, but it's fine. It's just the end of the song, though, dude. It's cool. It's like
we're all human, dude.
Bubbled out to the end. And
anybody who's looking for inhumane music or inhuman music, inhumane music would be like fucking animal cruelty bands or some shit.
We weren't. I mean, we weren't playing to clicks or anything like back then.
No clicks.
Like, clicks were not a like. So it just depended on the
it was all
on the vibe of the night and stuff. Like sometimes we would be all excited and go a little faster. Sometimes
play way
too
fast and fuck it up.
Yeah, dude. There's those times where you definitely like, ooh, okay, I guess we're doing this song really fast.
Yeah.
It starts, you're like, oh shit, okay, this is how it's gonna be for the rest of the song.
I was in it with Casey. Usually, like I couldn't even tell until after because we'd play these like tours and stuff where there'd be a bunch of YouTube videos the next day. And we'd watch them like and be like, holy shit. Like I was wondering why my arms were seizing and like cramping up. I'm like, why are they like I can't play anymore?
Yeah.
And like I was like, I guess I'm just I don't know, it's tour, you know, I don't know. And then the next day it was like, oh, we're 15-20 beats per minute too fast.
And those songs are already super fast, so it's like you don't even realize it. Decrepit Birth was the first band that I ever toured with that had me on click tracks, you know. I remember Matt pushed for that. And I was so glad.
What do you think that is? It's a combination of adrenaline and
time like changes when you're on stage. It's like time just changes, dude. Like it's like you think you're like going like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like you just like It's like a fucking dragonfly, dude.
Like when you're in that flow state. Yeah.
There's like this time frame of reality, and there's this time frame when you're on stage. All that adrenaline and everything, like you think, you're going the same speed, but
you're seeing
you're
in
totally
slow
not
motion, but you're fucking.
But that's what makes a click sick, which I've never toured with a click, which I would love to. But it would be like the opposite. It'd be like, oh, this is slow, and I can dig in and fucking be like solid. And that was like when we toured with Black Dahlia. We're like, oh, that's how you do it, like pro. You know?
Shannon Lucas. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Shannon, dude. So sick.
Yeah, I mean, I realized it the first time I like watched a video of myself with Decrepit before the clicks came in the picture, and I was like, why was I playing it that fast? I don't understand. But like you said, the adrenaline hits and you don't realize it, you know? So I remember once I switched over to clicks, I was like, oh, this totally makes sense. Cause then I'd go back to the videos and be like, okay, that sounds more like legit, you know, like, and then I never really went back after that. You know, I still play with clicks to this day, and it's funny. Nice. Matt Sotelo, Matt's the one that was like, "Hey, man, you should.
Cool.
You should try this."
We actually played one show together with Decrepit.
We did. That was the last show I played with them.
Was that the DNA?
That was the last show you played with Decrepit?
It was with you.
Oh damn! Holy shit!
Where was that?
Because so it was at the Catalyst. Matt randomly hit me up and was like, "Hey, so we're doing Decapitated offered us this one-off show." And you know, it's just one show, so we're not gonna fly, you know, Sean out for it. and do you want to just relearn a lot of the songs and play them? And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I don't have to tour. I could just play like a sold out show and then walk away. This is amazing. Because like I just been through all the like, you know, the touring lifestyle thing was just burnt by this time. I was like, you know, the not seeing the you know, the results like playing for huge bands or anything, and just like hitting the road. I mean, we were playing really cool shows and stuff, but it was just getting to the point where I was getting older. You know, I had to kind of start buckling down with money, and living in Santa Cruz, very expensive. And so they offered me one show. I remember on that Naveen Entheos podcast, it might have been another podcast, but Naveen came up to me after the show because he was burnt out on touring at that time too. And he was all, dude, you get to play one show and just like put your hands up and walk away. He's like, you're living the fucking dream, dude. I was like, because like, I mean, that was, you know, you don't have to like get all into it and like, you know, be all grungy and fucking make not that much money and come home struggling and stuff, and like you still have a job and all that stuff. So, but yeah, that was so much fun. I had so much fun on that show, man. You were fucking killing it. I looked back at you like many times. It was just like, dude, I'm fucking finally jamming with this guy. I've known this guy forever. And like fucking watching you, because you have really good stage presence too with your playing too. You stand up, you get people going and stuff. And like, I was just so stoked to like get that one opportunity to jam with you, man.
Well, yeah, likewise, man. I mean, yeah, I remember before we even played the show, just hanging out. It was awesome because you and we clicked right off the bat, and we're talking about bands. We're hanging out somewhere in Santa Cruz, and we were just having a great time. And it's funny because I remember like watching you and Casey on stage in Modesto before I was touring at all, and just being like, dude, these guys they look like gods up there. This is so sick. And then to be playing with you and playing with that band a couple years later was super surreal. So even though it was only one show, I mean, that show, I'll still remember that forever. It was such a fun show. And I felt the same way with you. I was like, dude, I finally get to play with this guy that like I kind of grew up watching play, you know? So
this is
super cool.
DNA Lounge in San Francisco.
No, this is
Catalyst,
Santa Cruz. And
okay.
That was the last.
I don't know. I got mixed up.
Bill is the kingdom of God.
Well,
yeah, Bill. I miss that guy, man. I hope he's doing good.
Doing good.
Yeah. I was at that show. I remember hanging out with Spencer Edwards outside the Catalyst, and we were
drummer of Son of Aurelius.
Well, Continuum played that night too, right? Continuum opened,
and Continuum drummer.
Yeah.
Oh, you were at that show, Joseph?
Yeah, I was watching. I was in attendance.
You're like at every show. That's awesome.
So you were at that one in Australia? You were at that one?
That Europe tour? I was at every show.
The one that we're Metallica played on Antarctica or some shit.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to go in pictures and I'm just going to see Joseph like in the background, like Find Waldo. He's going to be there.
I also remember you decapitated, fucking just annihilated, and they got called for an encore, and apparently they didn't have an encore ready, so they just came out and played the first song of their set again at the end. And like enough people like were drunk and whatever didn't notice, so it just went off again. But I was always like, all right, that's like that's a move to keep that first song in the back if you need it. But dude, that was a fun show, and I just remember you killed it, obviously, and we were like, dude, this guy's great.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was one of my favorite bands. I mean, still is. I'm wearing the dang shirt right now, you know, but to be playing with them, I was like a kid in the candy store, man. I just felt so stoked, you know, because it's different, you know, when it's like songs that you grew up on, and then all of a sudden you're playing them with the band, and it's super cool, man.
It was even like that for me, dude. Like, even in the early, I mean, I was like 21 when I joined 2004, and man, dude, I was like, when I met Matt the first time, I was like, oh shit, dude, that's him.
Yeah, that's how I was when I first saw Bill at the show that you guys played. I was like,
for sure.
I was like, he's real. He's actually right there.
I remember the night I met Bill. He had like this beanie on. He's all covered up, and this Dresden just kind of comes by like, oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I talked to Bill, it was funny. What was it? Oh, you guys were selling CDs at the merch store, and I was like, man, I'm buying And Time Begins. Like, I want a copy of it. Yeah. And then I realized, oh shoot, I don't have any money. Like, I think I didn't have cash on me or something like that. I was like, dang it, and I tried to like be discreet about it, but I think he saw saw me look in my wallet, and I was like, so I just started walking away, and he goes, hey dude. And I'm like, yeah. And then he just literally throws the CD at me that I was going to try to get.
Oh, man, that's brilliant.
And that was like, if I brought that up to him, he probably wouldn't even remember that. But I remember just being like, dude, this guy's super cool. And then, yeah.
Do you remember Bill's fuck work rants, dude?
Oh, yeah.
Did he do that later on? Oh my god,
he did that and smoke
work,
like, smoke weed.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's the best.
Well, interesting guy to talk to.
Yeah,
yeah, interesting guy to talk to, man. Very, very cool, and just very like, I don't know, man, just in tune with the universe. Very, very awesome to talk to him. I loved talking with Matt Sotelo and breaking.
Yeah.
What was I going to try to say?
Bill's a great lyric writer, dude.
Oh, yeah. He takes you to another dimension, man.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
He, like, started that kind of like weird psychedelic genre of death metal, like lyrics and stuff. Where he's like writing stories. He's like, I'm not going to tell you what it means, but you can make your own thing up,
Have they ever ranted to you about the whole concept of rebirth of consciousness and that whole fucking dude who like clones himself forever and like diminishes down into like this? Has he ever ranted to you about that stuff?
He hasn't, but that sounds, it sounds like that definitely rubbed off on Archaic, because Archaic had stories that were kind of similar to that, where like the whole entire album concept is like based off of a character. I want to say the character in ours, I think his name was Cyrix, and I would butcher the story if I tried to tell the whole thing, but long story short, I mean, it's similar to that, where it's very complex and it's amazing writing. I mean, I feel like Jared from Archaic, Jared and Chance, they would write the lyrics together, and they would just come up with incredible stuff that like could be in a book that you could buy at the store, and that was another cool thing I think about, that type of death metal is like over time, the whole like the bloody gore stuff, it's cool, but it kind of gets old. So it's cool to have lyrics that kind of take you to places like that, I guess.
Yeah, it fits the band, like each band's got their thing,
Yeah.
And it just, for that kind of band, it just fits. And they kind of pioneered that. Well, I mean, there's other bands like Origin too, and like
Origin
sing about fucking space and shit, dude.
Yeah. Like I love all that stuff. I just love when people kind of like break the rules, and I feel like in our region, all of those bands did that, like all the bands that we've been talking about tonight. And I'm just,
that is true. It's kind of like a California thing. I've actually kind of noticed that it is like the space.
I don't know where mine come from. I mean, there's some celestial stuff in there and some psychedelia, but it's like I'm more earthy, like dirt and fucking plants.
Sing about caves and shit.
Little dirt.
But I like those types of metaphors and connections with Earth and Gaia and all that shit.
Yeah, that was definitely very very Bill Robinson. I'd talk to him and just be like, whoa, like I feel like I'm talking to like
Bill's
a wizard. He's just very but yeah, man.
If Diego's the riff wizard, Bill's the, I don't know, lyric wizard. I don't know, some shit. Just
yeah.
I wanted to ask about the Lucid Dawn album, because that's my favorite Archaic record.
Oh, right on.
I just wanted to ask about, what it was like recording and doing that album with those guys.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with that record, I think at that time I had started to play with Battlecross, so I did that record in between a couple Battlecross tours. So that record was actually a lot more kind of in and out for me because I was very busy at the time. Whereas to Metamorphic Ignition was more, I didn't have a lot going on. I was focused a lot more on it. Although I was sick as a dog on that record, that wasn't fun. But yeah, Lucid Dawn, I guess I was juggling a lot, or trying to juggle a lot, but the experience itself was awesome. I mean, I loved it. I loved working with, at that point, I had recruited one of my best friends, Miguel Esparza, who him and we grew up in a bunch of different local bands together. And
I think he's in the chat actually, or he was at some point.
Oh, Miguel. Hey, Vato.
He definitely was here. Yeah, for sure. Might still be. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I pulled him in, and then we were able to get our other guitar player at the time, Greg, and it was like a total fresh new lineup, so it kind of just gave a different taste to everything. And just like the first lineup, we went out on tour, we had a lot of fun, and we made Lucid Dawn, and I was really happy with that record. I had a lot of fun making it, and working with Zach out at Castle Ultimate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was that before Sharkbite then?
I think it was it Castle Ultimate. No, I mean, well, I did both. First it was Castle Ultimate, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe he rents out Sharkbite, right? It's not his studio, right?
I'm mixing stuff up, but it was always with Zach at the spot in Oakland. I think you guys know what studio I'm talking about. Yeah. But yeah, working with Zach, always amazing. I've done so many records with him, and I mean, by that point too, like him and I working together, we kind of had things down to a T, like exactly how things are going to be set up, exactly how we're going to run everything. Because him and I, like any tech death metal stuff I would do in California, it would always be done with him. So it was always great to work with him.
Nice. Miguel's saying it was Sharkbite, he thinks.
Sharkbite. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. And then if I'm not mistaken, I think that Rob from Machine Head, doesn't he like own that studio now or something?
I know that he records there a bunch. I don't know if he owns it.
Oh, okay.
He might though. He might. I don't know. I don't know that part of it. He could, because I know that Zach's pretty much his go-to guy now.
Yeah.
That's where we recorded Polarity. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Well, we got some questions from people who have been in the chat. If you guys are down to,
let's do
bring it in. All right. So actually, this one's from before the chat. This was on one of the flyers from the episode post. It was just, what's the best show you remember playing at the workshop CVDM?
Oh my goodness, the workshop, the legendary workshop. Oh my gosh. I was just talking to Matt about this the other day. I was like, dude, you don't understand. I was like, it was this place where we'd have these barbecues and it would just be brutal death metal all night and yada yada yada. Best show I ever played or ever went to.
Actually, it's attended / played. I think I can read this question as either.
So that was your local venue?
This was our local venue. Yeah, man. Okay. It was like a legendary place, man. I mean, it was so cool. It was a car shop that our friend Ishmael, he just put a little stage in there and just had all these bands come out and play. And you'd have some pretty big bands come through too. Let's see who played there. I mean, bunch of great bands. But anyways, to answer that question, there was a show that I played with a little side project we had called oh my gosh, Aborticide. That's what it was called. And it was Aborticide. It was the owner and my good friend Jason Graff, and it was just brutal slam. And the reason I had fun at that show is because it was so laid back. Like, we just had a big barbecue cookout before people got there, and then we just got up there, played some brutal death metal, and just hung out as a bunch of friends. And then one of the best shows that I attended was I'm blanking out, but it's that really awesome death metal band from Germany. Their singer is
Defeated Sanity.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah. I almost went to that show. But I'd seen them on the Sacramento show at the beginning of the same tour. So I was like, I should go to the second, like, it was like the end of the tour. Like they booked that show, like, after the rest of the tour had already been booked. They decided to schedule that one, and I didn't make it out, but I know people that did. So
yeah, man. I mean, I remember just watching them just crush it, and the shows there. I mean, the building was built like out of this. It almost looked like, how could I say? Like, the walls didn't really look super stable. It looked like how like a car shop would look. So like when they would have hardcore shows and the kids would just be going crazy, if you stood on the outside of the building, you would see the walls like
bowing out,
and you'd hear all this slamming. Yeah. And it was just awesome, man. Cause it was kind of like, I don't know. It was just had a really
DIY
awesome
underground, dude.
DIY family vibe, you know. And it's like if anybody caused any drama, dude, you'd see people get the crap beat out of them, man. Like there'd be so much stuff that would go on at the shop, like so many crazy stories. There was one time a couple years ago where my friend Ishmael, the owner, he would rent it out to whoever wanted it for like the night. And there was this high school kid that like he wanted to have a little birthday there. And my buddy Ishmael was like, yeah, whatever, cool, you know, do your thing. And somehow there was this mass text that got sent out to like all these kids from all these different high schools to come out. And it ended up being like a couple hundred people there, and it got wild because all these cops showed up, and it basically like turned into like a riot, like people throwing rocks at the cop cars and getting on the cars and like slamming the windows, and a helicopter. Like just crazy stuff would happen like that, man. Like just endless stories. But anyways, enough about that. Yeah, it was an amazing place.
Well, that kind of is what shapes you, is those little communities we've always talked about. It like you have that one place that everybody went to. There's familiar faces, becomes a community. You know, if there is bullshit, and it'll fucking get popped out like a pimple quick, because we don't fucking want that here, you know?
Oh yeah. Sometimes that happened, but I mean, hey, you know, if you have someone showing up looking for trouble, it's like, hey, well, I guess you found it, you know? But I mean, the owner, Ishmael, he would let me practice there. Like, it was just like, dude, Ishmael, if you see this at all, love you and miss you, man.
Shout out Ishmael.
Thank you for everything. Seriously.
He apparently had the best ponytail, according to Miguel.
Yeah. Well, he had like this, he had the Mongol cut. Like, it's pretty cool looking, but yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
That's bad. Another question. This is kind of like the you know, the big deep question. He says, Alex, what is your favorite thing about being involved with music?
My favorite thing about being involved with music, I mean, really being a part of changing people's lives, really, just in the same way that mine was changed. I mean, shoot, music kept me out of a lot of trouble. I mean, it really shaped my life, you know, because like when I started to get really into music, like going back to that night where I saw Tim Young, I knew at that moment that that's where I wanted to be and that's what I wanted to do. And I was determined to do it no matter what. And if that meant leaving my friends to the side because they're just getting into a whole bunch of stuff that I know is not going to lead them to the right place, and I'm just going to keep on going this direction, you know, a lot of my friends growing up, man, they got into some gnarly stuff later on that it's sad, but I'm just very grateful that music kept me focused, you know, because without it, I don't know where I would have ended up or what I would have done. And I hope that I could be that to somebody else, you know, I hope that there's a kid that might see me on stage and go, dude, like, I want to be that guy. I want to give someone that experience and hopefully change their life, you know, give them that.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
That's awesome, man. Well, dude, that's right. You had the eye on the prize very young, dude.
And I think that's what's so cool about what you do, Alex, and like with metal and stuff, is it's not about the like success, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, dude. Yeah, fucking dude, you know. Like, it's like you're like into the fucking music. You want to shred. You want to be a good fucking musician. You want to impress people. You want people to be inspired by you, which we all are, man. And like, I just can't fucking believe that you're like, it just trips me out, dude. How you like are inspired by me, and I'm like sitting here just going like, you have done 1,000 times more with your drumming than I have, you know. And I have so much respect for you that it's like, it's just such a trippy thing. But that's the thing about music, dude. The fucking circle of life.
It really is. I mean, that's like how I am like I'm not exaggerating when every single time I see Tim Young, I tell him, you changed my life. Like, changed my life, you know?
Speaking of which, I got to add to that. So I saw Tim Young play, like, I don't know how old I was, but with Vital Remains, you know, at that same venue I've seen a million bands, the Galaxy in Santa Ana and LA, you know. And so, and dude, just him coming up there, and it was Glenn Benton on vocals, Dave Suzuki on guitar. It was the whole fucking thing. It was the real deal, like, you know, like at the time. I mean, all the other people later were awesome too, but that was just so sick. And so anyways, and I remember Tim just like, I was like, God damn, that guy makes an 8-inch tom sound so sick. Like, cause he's like you go down and just flipping his sticks around, and I was fucking like blown away, like just floored. And I can't remember how old I was. I was like a teenager or 19 or some shit or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think when the bar is set so high like that, you know, like when you're listening to bands like Vital Remains and all that, it shows you what could be done on the kit. And that was one of the things about watching you play that night in 2008 is I was like watching all these videos and listening to all these records, but that was the first time I actually saw it done in person. And I was like, wow, like
thanks, man.
Yeah, man. So I wanted to be able to do that and learn. Yeah. You know, and, overall, man, I'm very fortunate.
You probably played it better than me anyways.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But,
dude, I was
no, but
I was trying my best.
I give the credit really to like the people I was around more than anything. Like, I mean, I never woke up one day and was like, I want to do blah, 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 blah. And like Alex this, Alex that. It was always like, I had a very positive, supportive family, a supportive girlfriend that ended up being my wife. Like my wife, Christina, was at my first shows ever. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, man. Cool. Like she's literally saw my first show that I ever played, I believe. Not the very first one, but one of them, like one of the first awesome shows I played. And she was there, and like, she's always been by my side, like through the good times and the bad. And it's like, that's the stuff that really like pushes me, you know, like, and I'm grateful for all of that. I'm grateful that I had a dad and a mom and a dad that like, when I said, I want to go out on tour, I'm glad they weren't like, no, like you're a loser if you do that. They were like, go, you know, do it. And if it doesn't work out, like you'll figure it out, you know? So I'm just very fortunate, you know?
Well, we've talked about this a lot, like on the podcast with Brandon from Faceless, you know, and it's like, you seem like the perfect dude who's like super professional and easy to tour with, like a great attitude, but you're also super professional with your instrument. So it's kind of like, I understand why everyone wants you.
Oh, thank you, man.
Dude.
Thank you.
He was like that at 19, dude. Like, you just hit the nail
on the head. He's a natural, man. He's a natural.
Like he you know, I mean, he was
the kid's got
a little shy for because he was 19, but he blossomed enough to where I got to pry into him a little bit after a month of being on the road with him. And I knew how he treated the you know, the live setting, how he treated his instrument, and I knew how he was outside of all that with all the, you know, behind the scenes shit. And I just knew, dude, this kid's fucking gonna be big fucking thing.
I mean, just after talking to you for whatever less than 2 hours, like I feel like, yeah, man, I could tour with this guy in 5 minutes.
Thanks, man.
I mean, we even ended the rest of that tour just at fucking Jared's parents' house. We stayed there for like the last 3 or 4 nights, and we all just like we went down to the river or went out to the lake. Fucking, I went wakeboarding that fucking. You know, we were actually having some fun, dude.
Yeah, man, we had a lot of fun, and every tour that I've done, I just learn from those around me. You know, I mean, I feel like every tour that I've done, I've just gotten better. I've learned the what to do and the what not to do. You know, I mean, touring with someone like Ivan, who just that dude, if anything,
the chupacabra.
Well, yeah, I mean, a guy that will get under the van and just have oil leaking all over him and just literally fixing the van, doing all this stuff. I'm just around all these guys that are just like, they're monsters, not only on their instruments, but just like determined dudes that like nothing gets in their way. And for me, each tour I would do with different musicians, like every musician that I've gone and toured with, I'm grateful for every single one of them, because I've always learned something in one way or another. And every tour I do, I want to try to better myself to I don't know, like you said, hopefully be easy to work with and live with, you know, because you literally have a roommate, you know. So I don't want to I want to try not to be the roommate that everyone's like, okay, this dude sucks, you know.
No, dude, we wanted to hang out. We wanted to go get food after, you know. There's times where you just want to act when you're on a package and you guys want to still hang out aside from the fucking gig. Then you got a sick situation going.
That's why I can stand being in a band with Anthony and Joel for the last fucking how long? Since 2004.
2005 was when I started doing my demos with you guys. 16. Well, I was just thinking. So you were saying 2003 about when you came across, what was it, Slipknot or something like that?
Yeah.
No, you. Yeah. So 2003, you were 10.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 19. I was born in 1993.
And I was like, "Fuck, dude!"
You're like the coolest 10-year-old ever.
We were doing those double duty tours basically around that time, dude. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, well,
he was only 10 in 22.
Yeah. Well,
you're 10 years younger than me. I'm 83. You're 93, right?
I'm 93.
Because I fucking stalked you a little bit online.
Before. Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, I just looked up a discography. I'm just fucking around.
Yeah,
it was on 93. I was like, oh, I'm 10 years before.
83. Yeah, like mid 2000s, 2003, 2005. That's when I was like, okay,
yeah,
I'm a metalhead. 2008 on, like, I was in. What was I in high school? I think I was in high school in like 2008 or 2009, and that's when I was like, okay, Deeds of Flesh, Suffo. Like I was like, now I'm a death metal guy, and it's just always like it just kept going and going, man.
Sick.
Yeah. That's why it's gonna keep going forever, dude.
It always starts in high school. That's like a recurring, like high school is the time you get into the heavy shit, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like I want to be an adult. Fucking that's the new fucking heavy shit. You know, I got
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, for me, it started off like, the Ocean Avenue Yellow Card thing I was talking about. But then I also got really into all the other stuff that was big at the time, like Blink 182 was still on MTV a lot, and Green Day, like American Idiot, that came out in, I want to say 04. Yep. And I was like hooked on that. And I remember my goal as a kid, I was like, I just want to be able to play those songs and I'll be happy. And then I was able to play them. And I was like, well, what's next? And then it was like, well, if I can play this Slipknot, Joey Jordison stuff, that'd be great. And it just kept going,
Yeah.
Do you guys think, like, I know Joel and I have talked, we've all talked about like Offspring a lot and like Green Day, like when those bands came out that like influenced us before we were into metal, then there was grunge and all that stuff. Like,
yeah,
I kind of feel like, I know it's dorky, but like I kind of feel like a little bit like as a super young person that like that kind of stuff influenced me into metal later. Like I know it's dorky.
Well, when did Dookie come out?
But punk like kind of translates into that. It's like Motorhead and the,
94?
For me, the first riff that I really liked was the Kids Aren't All Right by The Offspring.
Oh yeah. That riff is really cool.
And it's like a palm mute riff, and that's what got me into metal, but it was like from a punk.
I was just saying, I was gonna talk on the Green Day thing because I'm, basically it's like a decade difference.
I'm talking like Dookie Smash. Like,
yeah. Well, Dookie was for me, but American Idiot was for Alex.
That's a great album.
Yeah.
I mean, I think,
and it's 10 years later, isn't that?
Yeah.
Like
it's crazy
for him. I see what you're saying.
That was at a point to where it was an influential thing for two different generations, dude.
Yeah.
Green Day is the doorway for so many musicians.
I mean, there's
like,
bands that have been doing that for but I'm just saying that's like common.
And then Celine Dion comes through with
dude, sure.
Well, think about like
she can sing, dude.
Which one which one of you guys used to play Tony Hawk Pro Skater? We all grew up on that, and that was all like Offspring and all those bands.
Yeah, dude, exactly.
Like, Primus, CKY,
Bad Religion, dude, all that shit, man.
Yeah, like I feel like that soundtrack specifically, like I feel like really impacted me and a lot of us growing up.
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like there's a connection with punk and metal too,
Oh yeah.
And punk is more commercial, like even if it's underground, it's still more commercial than like thrash or metal. I mean I don't know if you're comparing like the big four, that's different, but
well, they know how to they know how to write great songs, and it's like no matter what, at the end of the day, a great song is a great song, even if it's something with 3 riffs. It's like any 10 or 12-year-old or whatever could probably play Green Day, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, dang, they're just still such great songs. We all still listen to them and hum them and know the lyrics. It's crazy how that works. It's like, I guess, I don't know. I've always tried to look at the best of both worlds. Like I'm like, give me the most extreme with as many notes as possible. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm in the mood for, what's that one song? Jaded. brain stew, something so simple.
Oh man, when that came out in junior high. It was like
it's like a palate.
You find yourself too. You find yourself going like, when you're younger and hungry, you kind of like you start with like your influences, and you get into like crazy metal, crazy technical riffs, blah blah blah. As you get older, you start going kind of back. You start going to like. I like catchy stuff again. Like I want stuff that
everything's in like
me.
a cycle that loops backwards but forwards.
Yeah,
you keep going back through like the things that you've already done and like that's why we have our relove for so many albums that we've talked about many times. I'm not going to mention any of them except for Pierce from Within, but
who's that by? I don't know what you're talking about.
That's the one that
Rob
like
Zombie.
You shelf it for a while and cycle back to it and it'd be like the whole fresh deal. But
Pierce from Within,
you want that. You want to take everything that was so important to you. You're like, these are like the blips in time, that these are the bands that had these blips that I want to shelf. Okay, I'm going to have enough time away from it to miss it. Then I finally am like, okay, here we go. I'm going to dive right back in. And you try, it's like a drug, dude. You're trying to go back to that first time that it clicked with you.
Yeah. There's so many bands that I'm
close if you get further away from it.
There's so many bands I missed out on because I was trying to be so metal and so death metal that I like was like, no, I don't want to.
Oh yeah,
I can't listen to them. Blah blah.
No.
No, like actually, you mentioned Killswitch Engage. I actually got into them like 2 years ago. I was like, the guitar player fucking rules, man. Like this shit.
I'm not gonna lie, Trivium is that for me. I'm like getting into Trivium right now.
Same thing. And you got me to actually listen to Trivium because I never really listened to them. Because like Alex is in the band, I'm throwing it on, going like, holy, especially the shit that you're playing. I'm just like, fuck yeah, dude. I can hear you in there. I'm like, dude. Fucking my homies playing in this fucking like influential huge band now. It's fucking super inspiring to watch, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and again, I'm still growing because I'm working with a band that is teaching me how to try to write songs on the drums too. Like it's like there's sections when we're writing where I'm a death metal guy, so I'm like, I'm gonna blast that entire section out right there. And I might have Paolo, our bass player, will be like, no, like, why don't you slice it and then like maybe blast it right at the end so that way it really counts. And I'm like, I see what you're going for. And then I listen back to it sonically and I'm like, that idea was way cooler than what I was going to do. So I'm like able to like keep growing and keep on picking people's brains. And it's a challenge, like playing in a band where it's not just everything balls to the wall, throw it all in the basket. It's like, no, you got to kind of be strategic with it. And I like that challenge, personally, I've always enjoyed being thrown in situations that I'm not comfortable in, so that's
why you're successful. That's why you're successful. Thank you, that's why it's where in any facet of life is, being thrown into risky situations that you're not comfortable with and saying like, being thrown on the stage with Cannibal Corpse or being thrown on stage with Testament, like you're like, fuck, I mean, let's just do this, I guess. I mean, I'm freaked out, but let's just fucking do it.
Yeah, that's it, man. Just bulldoze your way through it. And like that old saying, you win some, you lose some, but you live to fight another day.
Exactly.
It's really true.
Exactly.
Can you talk about the upcoming tour you're doing with Trivium? There's some pretty famous bands on that bill.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, man, I'm excited it's happening. So we are going out to support Megadeth and Lamb of God, and I believe In Flames is on the bill as well.
Jesus Christ.
Never heard of any of them, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, there's these guys.
Just underground shit, dude.
That's some boomer metal. I heard.
Boomer metal, racing shoes and shit. Fucking running.
They should put that like its own genre in Spotify. Like, oh, I'm in a boomer metal mood for today. But no, it's really amazing to be able to go out with these bands and.
So sick.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it, man, because it's like we had all this planned before and the pandemic happened and no one knew what was going to happen. I mean, right before Corona, we were supposed to go play in Japan and do a whole Asia tour. And I remember that fell through and I was like, man, things are getting kind of weird in the world right now. And it was like, once everything shut down, it's like, dude, like, this is really weird. Like, I don't know if this has ever happened in music, period, where it's just like no one knows what's going to happen. Everything's canceled.
It hasn't.
Yeah.
Not in our lifetime.
Not in our lifetime for sure. So like with this tour being booked and it's actually on and it's going to be one of the first major tours back, it's kind of like the anticipation's like wild. I'm like, whoa, like people have been starving for anything for like what, a year now, maybe over a year, something like that.
Dude, and people are gonna have some like spiritual experiences at these concerts, dude.
I hope they do, man. They deserve it.
I mean, I want to think always positive. Like people are like, there's gonna be emotional people. People are gonna have like an awakening at some of these shows, you know, because it's something that we've missed for so long, you know, the live music atmosphere, dude.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that it's happening, and all the Trivium guys are too. Everybody is, man. I mean, we're just like, dude, it's gonna be nice to play, and those are obviously incredible bands. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm stoked. I can't wait. I'm starting to get to that point where I'm like counting down the days, and
I saw another flyer too. Forgive me for not remembering who, but you guys got a different thing going besides that tour, right?
We got.
There was a different flyer I saw for something.
Was it Europe?
He's like, is it Metallica?
Oh. No, I would know that. But
I thought, okay, maybe I'm tripping. I'm sorry.
I think you might have seen a European flyer, which is we're doing that as well. So, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The reason I'm
or it was a festival spot or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little confused because we had everything set, but then everything got moved around and things are still kind of shifting because of like venue availabilities and different things like that. Like it's been a really kind of back and forth couple months with like emails and management and stuff. Cause it's like, we know what we want to try to do, but it just depends on, like I said, venues and bands and things like that.
You got to expect with us trying to get it back full speed. It's not going to be just like everything's back to the same it was. It's got to ease back in, you know, and figure out what works, what time. And
it looks like the European 2021 dates with Heaven Shall Burn, Tesseract, right. Fit for an Autopsy was announced. Yeah, I see the flyer for it here. So that's the tour.
Okay.
Tour, yeah.
Thanks, Joseph, for making me feel like I did see something.
Trivium's name. No, you definitely did. You definitely did. I just couldn't remember. I'm like, I don't want to announce it if it hasn't been announced, but I'm pretty sure it has. I'm so out of the loop, man. I'm like, the emails have been crazy lately with just like all this back and forth. But like I said, I'm just glad that things are actually
exciting though, right?
I'm stoked, man. I mean, it's crazy because like so many people were like bummed out that we had to move things around. Like we had, people were like, commenting on things like, I can't believe you guys moved my city around, blah, 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 blah. And you guys aren't coming here. Now I have to drive 30 minutes and, all this complaining.
30 minutes.
Yeah, literally some people were like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe you guys canceled the Irvine show. Now I got to drive to LA or whatebut
and Alex was like, that was my decision. So
because everything's totally normal. So like,
I'm like, you get what you deserve. No,
totally.
It was literally either that or we wait to tour until 2022. Next year. So I'm like, well, what do you guys want? And it's like, it's not like we're the ones that are booking these dates. We're just the booking agency is trying to do anything it can. So now that things are solidifying, I'm like, cool.
Oh yeah. Is that Megadeth tour coming close to us? I don't know.
One of the dates is in Concord, California at the Concord Pavilion.
Nice. Yes. I'll be there, man.
And
fuck yeah.
Cool.
You guys are playing the same night as Between the Buried and Me are playing another part of Orange County. So I have to pick between BT Bam and when I realized that Alex is obviously playing with Trivium at that show, it was like, it made it so much harder because I was like pretty set on BT Bam, but now I'm like, fuck, dude. Yeah. So maybe
I'll never forgive you. I'll never forgive you.
Going, dude.
I'll hold it against you 20 years from now. I'll be like, yeah, Joseph, remember when you bailed out on our show?
That Joseph said cool, live on the podcast. Joseph just said live on the podcast. He's going. He's not going to BT Bam. He's going.
All right, and then we'll interview BT Bam, and then they'll fucking catch me for saying that. So
I'm gonna look for you in the crowd. I'm gonna be like, he better be here.
All right, how about I'll be there. Fuck it, let's do it.
I want to go, dude. I want to go to the LA or whatever Southern California, as south as it goes, show.
I don't know if we have a Southern California show. We might. I know for sure we have Concord though.
Come to the Irvine show with me, dude.
Come on, man.
We're doing Irvine. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, come to Irvine.
Irvine.
Dude, Megadeth, Lamb of God, Trivium.
Let me come. Dude, I was supposed to see Megadeth so many times, dude. And I was supposed to see him with Ozzy Osbourne, like right before COVID. It was like, it's going to be with Ozzy. And it was like, this rebooking because Ozzy was going through health stuff, and then it was like, oh, I'm gonna see fucking Ozzy and Megadeth, yes. And then it was like, Ozzy was like, no, health stuff, and then he canceled his whole year in 2020 right before COVID. You guys remember that? I don't know. If
yeah. It was
but, so all of our tickets got refunded, like not even rescheduled. It was like, no, dude, Ozzy's like, nah.
Ozzy's always ahead of the game.
He's got your money.
And then like a month later, fucking maybe Ozzy at the bats and stuff. I don't know, dude. I got a little conspiracy going in my head about the.
Or maybe Ozzy started COVID with biting a bat.
That's all it. He's patient zero, man.
Sorry.
It's been so creeping in, dude.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, that's my favorite theory now. Yeah,
because he canceled 2020 before anybody. Dude.
I'm on your deal, dude. I got the iced tea. You ever had the iced tea ones?
Yeah, they're good.
Ozzy was ahead of the game.
Bryce likes them.
He knew, dude. Ozzy knew.
Yeah,
Ozzy knew. That bumper sticker.
You guys are drinking the clock.
Oh my God, that's
down, you know? Yeah, because I'm out of beer.
I think that beer is from Modesto, if I'm not mistaken.
I
heard something like that. That's what I heard. Yeah, you guys might have to Google.
Joel, you have better eyes than me. Read the back right now.
Maybe
as fast as you can.
Yeah, Jesus.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I can't read.
If I am, call me out.
There's no way I'm going to be able to see it, dude.
Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Chicago.
Well, dang it. Okay, never mind.
You're your bass player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are you guys living now? You said that you're in Oceanside, Casey, and
San Diego, North County. Yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over in Aptos, pretty much for Matt, where we jammed at with Matt when we were doing Decrepit stuff. Probably 7 minutes from him. Like I'm literally down like an exit from the freeway from him. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. I'm still in P-Town, same spot you came to.
Oh, okay. Right in Pacifica. Wow.
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
I did go to Sacramento for a while. I go to Sacramento. I didn't only
like 3 or 4 at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, he was young, dude. He's almost 10. He'll be 10 this year, dude.
That's insane, man.
So should we? I don't know. I know this is a podcast about metal, but you're about to be a father. I don't know if that's public knowledge at all, but
it is. Yeah.
You're about to be a father. So that's coming up in a few weeks, right? You just said so. That's coming up.
I'm counting down the days, man. Yeah, we got a due date that I'm not going to announce the date yet, but
rarely does it land.
It's like a tour.
No, it actually ended up working out perfect, honestly, with the tour getting moved around and all that. So I'm super excited, man. I'm just like literally counting down days, man. I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. It's something that we've always wanted. And it's literally been like my whole world, like my focus, like above everything, above music and touring and all that. Like that stuff's still there, but it's kind of been in like the back of my head because all I'm thinking about is just this baby that's going to be here, So
the Trivium, hold your baby, dude. Wait until you actually hold that baby.
Oh, dude, I already know. I'm like, I hope no one has a camera around or anything because I'm going to be
you're going to be waterworks, bro.
I'm going to be like that dude that was on that show that he does that weird scream where he's like, I still love you.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna be me. That's totally gonna be me.
Intervention.
You're gonna hold the baby. Yeah.
I'm gonna hold.
What if you hold the baby and you're all, "What's up, dude?" Dude.
Yeah, we're both really excited.
Checking calf muscles, make sure they could do the double bass.
Oh, she's already doing that in Christina's stomach, man. It's crazy. It's I mean, I'm sure
she's in the chat. She's in the chat right now. She said induction date. Yeah, she's she's not breaking any news here. We're gonna see.
Yeah. But the baby, I could see it from the outside in the stomach, and I'm just like, wow, man,
that's
like,
awesome,
that's crazy.
Man.
She has music that she loves. We love Yeah, like that's she's really into like heavy bass. So we put on like Earth, Wind and Fire, Thundercat's like her
Thundercat's
favorite.
Playing tomorrow here in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I'm trying to get tickets, and I didn't know. I mean, I'm kind of behind the curve.
Are you finally on board, or are you just going with?
I'm down. I mean, Joe Lester kind of got me into it, and like he was talking about a bunch. So I like listened to it. You showed me it.
Joe Lester has to fucking actual bass player has to get him into.
I mean, like. It's like it's the first concert fucking playing in Santa Cruz with Thundercat. That's the first one like opening up Santa Cruz.
You're gonna fucking have a blast,
dude. I don't have tickets, dog.
Oh, fuck! You're
not rubbing it in,
dude.
Anyone in the chat got extra tickets, let us know.
Yeah. If you got an extra ticket, I will pay you and buy you drinks and do the whole thing. So
Thundercat, anyway. If you're listening, it'd be cool to get a hookup.
Dude, that would blow my mind, dude.
Oh,
that actually worked.
We're Thundercat super fans.
Dude, I love that drunk record. I haven't dove deep into anything after that because I want to actually like give it my attention, and I just haven't had a sliver of time to like sit down with something without having something else going on. So
right.
So that drunk record just it's definitely there for me all the time, dude.
Yeah, man.
So like Alex, does oh, sorry to cut you off. Does the Trivium dudes, are they fathers, or is it just Matt? Or because I know Matt has kids, right? I don't know.
Matt has twins actually, and Paolo, our bass player, his girlfriend is pregnant as well, and it's crazy. We might be having kids like the same week, same day. So it's crazy.
Dude, you guys all live near each other. That's actually a good thing, dude. Like,
oh yeah, we're a family.
Setting up homies for them.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we're a huge family out here, man. I mean, we get together on the weekends. Now that we're all vaccinated and all that, we've been getting together and just having like big barbecues and ordering food and just hanging out. And it's cool, like you said. I mean, all the kids will be able to play together. Our dogs play together now. And it's just crazy, man. Like we went from like never planning to leave California to like all of a sudden we're out here. There's all this stuff going on, and we have this like big family that's like growing all of a sudden, so it's super crazy.
How'd your dog handle the cross country drive?
Oh, she was great. Her and our two cats. We had her and our two cats in the car, and they all did really good, man. We were just so proud of them, because I mean, that obviously those are long, crazy drives, but we did it and they did great. And we're just thankful. And they seem to be digging it here. I mean, our spot here is a little bit bigger than what we had in California. And, Brookie has Paolo's dogs. So it's
cool, more man. Humid.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. It's brutal, but that's, you expect that with Florida. Thankfully, AC's pretty cheap out here, so we just keep that bad boy cranked 24/7.
Yeah, in Santa Cruz, like AC is not a thing. It's like, there's not like a there's probably one air conditioning company out here. It's like not something that people do out here. It's maybe to cool down some like IT equipment or pot plants, like that's all that
it's like. It's like Europe. Like I don't know if you guys have ever like gone to Europe and wanted to not be dying of heat in the summer, but it's like they don't believe in AC out there. It's crazy. Like everybody out there, they say it'll give you a stiff neck. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they'll just sit there drenched in sweat, like over 100 degrees. I'm like, dude, no, I need my AC.
And their beer's warm too. All their beer and all their like the milk and stuff is all warm and stuff. It's like, I remember like going out to like getting our like our writer stuff, and it'd be like show up in the morning sometimes and like get cereal and just pour this like warm milk into it, and I'm like, am I gonna die?
What? Yeah. And then you ask about it and they look at you like you're crazy. So I'm just like, all right, whatever. This is just the way the cookie crumbles out here. That's cool, I guess.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too. I mean, I know I was in Sacramento for about 4 or 5 years, but you just get used to it. It takes about 3 or 4 years, and sometimes you just walk outside and you're sweating and you're like, yeah, I'm sweating. That's just what happens. Yeah. Like you just get your body kind of acclimates. I remember going from Sacramento, coming back to Santa Cruz, and I was fucking freezing. Like I was like, it's 55 degrees right now. Like, what the fuck? I'm gonna die of I'm gonna freeze to death. I remember like going in the bathroom. We didn't have like any heater or anything. Like in my old place, I had like all the AC heater, all the stuff because of the weather conditions. Yeah. But here it's just like, it's you're gonna be fucking shaking getting out of the shower now. It's like but I'm acclimated to that now. So it just takes about a year or two, and then you're just like, that's the weather, that's just what it is.
I don't really have a problem with the heat personally. I mean, I just kind of look at it as like, okay, well, when I go on a run, it's just going to be more of a challenge, which I guess, especially now that tour is coming up, I'm kind of using the humidity and the heat to my advantage. I'm like, all right, totally. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna jog, but I'm still gonna be drenched head to toe in sweat. So it's try to look at it that way.
In the sweat, dude.
Yeah, when you're coming from like a beach town like us, and then you're hitting up like certain venues sometimes they just they don't believe in AC, and you're just like playing and it's like 98 degrees inside, and like you're worried about like passing out on stage.
The Pink Eye in Toledo, Ohio.
Oh yeah, we've had multiple of those venues where they're just like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, it's 110 with like 90-something% humidity, and we don't have AC. So can you guys go play now? It's just like sitting there just chugging as much water as you can. But because you're in that climate now, you probably can get acclimated easier, and you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a show that Trivium played in 2018 in Austin, Texas, and it was that same exact situation. It was like probably one of the hottest days like ever, and then the AC went out, and it was a sold out show. And I remember, dude, that was one of the hardest shows I've ever had to play. And everybody, not just me, I mean, we were all just dying up there. And kudos to the guys, man, to like Corey and Matt and Paolo still jumping around and moving around out there. Cause like when we got to our last song, I remember that was one of the first times I started to actually see kind of like double vision. And I knew my body was like literally shutting down. Like I chugged as much water as possible, and it was just dripping out of me. And I was like, dude, this is crazy. Because not only for the band, but for the people that are like, imagine being like a sardine in the middle of the room and you're like stuck in there. I'm like, dude, that's so dangerous. I don't know how they got away with that.
Drinking like beer that takes away your hydration.
Yeah.
It's like the negative water while in that fucking situation. Yeah.
Some Bud Lights in there, man. Hell yeah, brother.
Is there anything going on in the chat, Joseph? Anybody paying attention?
A lot of people telling stories about ACs breaking and just chiming in with the temperature stuff.
Dude, see, that's what sucks about, I'm gonna bring up some behind the scenes stuff, Casey. I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but it's like if we delete this video and put up a different one, we lose all that chat, that goes along with this.
Does it stay on the live? Once the video is up, I don't think that stays on there, does it? The chat?
If we were to just leave it up,
if it's a live chat, is it on the video after it's uploaded? I don't even know.
I think it is if we upload it the way we did the first time, but if we don't do it like that, we will.
So the chat. So Anthony, I love what you're saying, but I don't think we're ready, buddy.
Okay, so that just goes away no matter what.
We need to like upgrade. So we're fucking
No,
we all work a lot. And no, you're awesome. I'm just letting the world know that we're learning as we go with this whole thing. So like
I can spit some highlights.
We're
from
total
the chat.
noobs to all this.
So some highlights are Jared from Archaic showed up.
Oh fuck yeah,
up, Jared.
I love Jared.
Love
that's
you,
awesome.
Man.
Sorry, dude, brain fart. Nate from Ontogony's been hanging out. And
what? Oh man, that's so cool, dude. I love that shit.
Dude.
And
I love you guys, man.
More interactive.
Love all you guys.
My favorite chat moment where he was, I guess we were getting into some serious music talk and stuff, and then he was just like, "All right, guys, when are you guys gonna start crying? I want an Oscar moment." I guess we were touching some hearts and souls out there with some of our earlier conversations. So,
all right. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. We're still brutal.
Yeah, dude.
I have a dorky thing to bring up, but whenever there's like time for nothing else.
I think we probably should be wrapping up now because it's getting pretty late over in East Coast area. Yeah. Ooh. So what was it?
Oh, yeah. If you want to, it's kind of relevant.
Wait for Joel to be back for the.
You were talking about the streaming of video games.
Yes.
And it was kind of funny because it's like, like in this day and age, people like watch YouTube channels of people like playing video games. And I totally understand it because like back in like, when I was like a kid, like, I don't know, like the early 90s, I would like go to my friend's house and he would play Super Nintendo. When we first got the Super Nintendo, it was like 94 or whatever it came out, 93, something like that. And I would just I sucked at, like I would play, but I just wanted to watch him play. And his mom would make the best fucking sandwiches and cookies and shit. We'd just hang out. And I just wanted to watch him play games and we'd just kick it and talk. And he would shred like the games, And like, it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, that's what people, I get it, dude.
The pre-version.
Like the watching of, so you were saying the dude from Trivium, was it Matt?
Yeah.
He does that also as streaming music, right?
Yes. Yeah. He does both. Yeah. So, yeah, and I totally see what you're saying, especially if you're watching someone that's good at the game. Like, right. I remember when kids first, like I started hearing about like big streamers, I was like, wow, that's so bizarre. I don't get it. But then I started playing Call of Duty and I realized how bad I suck at it. And then I started watching like the big guys like Nick Merckx and Tim the Tapman, which they're
Mountain 64.
Yeah, I mean any of those dudes that are like the top guys, you watch them and it's like when you first learn to play an instrument and then you watch the best guys and you're just like, they like, you're interested in it. You're like, whoa, like this is amazing to watch because you understand it. So that's really
totally, dude,
what it's been like for me, you know. So
yeah, the like we talked about it with Dallas from Nile and Narcotic Wasteland last, because he's super into the video games now. He's getting into it, and I recently, someone was moving out of town, gave me a PS4, and I had that game, and I was like, I was playing like the team deathmatch and just for the stuff that I remember doing back in the day when I was living with Lee from a Stratosphere. He would just have his Xbox. I just play Call of Duty, and then I played Warzone and started to understand what it was all about, and I was like, holy shit, this is addicting as fuck. Like this is like like you get like deep into it, and you're as people that are so good at it that you're just like, it's maddening. I mean, I don't like. I've seen you actually on your feed and stuff. You win sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we win a lot, and I'm definitely the one who is not. I'm not responsible for that, but I mean, sometimes I'll do.
So you're playing in teams.
Yeah, we play in teams, and my team usually always has to carry me for sure. I'm not like a natural gamer. Like I grew up playing Grand Theft Auto 24/7, and then I got into music, and I was like, all right, like that's my thing. So going back into it, it's crazy because it's like, it's cool to do something that I'm not good at, but it's definitely it's a challenge, because games these days, they're more complex. Like when you're playing something like Warzone, it's not just Rambo shoot everything in sight. It's strategy, it's timing, it's luck. It's like, it's a lot of things that go into play. And with all those games, whatever it is, Fortnite or whatever kids are into these days, that sounded like a boomer moment right there. But
I don't even know what that is, dude.
Grand Theft Auto.
I mean, I know.
My forefront memory of Grand Theft Auto is literally having the cheat codes, finding a place on top of a building to just snipe and like rocket cars and turn up the gore, and then know how to turn off the cops and just do that for like hours, dude. Just
Dude,
I was playing like GoldenEye, like James Bond GoldenEye, like on like N64 or some shit or whatever it was, and then before
that's basically Warzone's like a fucking GoldenEye on like mega steroids with everyone with 150 people in the same map. Like,
oh man, I try playing those modern games and I just like start and just like instantly die, and I'm like, it's just like, can't even like start the game, dude.
Yeah, I mean, for me, video games definitely opened me up to a lot of music. I was talking about the Slayer thing with Vice City, but it also, I mean, that game is supposed to be based in the 80s, so there was a lot of 80s music that was playing. So I got really into, I mean, I still love 80s music. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is one of my favorite games ever made, and that's supposed to be in like the 90s, and it has just a bunch of like gangster rap in it, and I love all that stuff to this day. I love that West Coast, everything. SoCal, Snoop Dogg, Cypress Hill, you name it, all the Bay Area rap, and I definitely think it had a lot to do with just.
I always see you rapping it. I know you're down.
Oh, dude, I love, West Coast rap, like, dude, that's like, I love that stuff as much as I love metal, man. But yeah, man, I just
you ever play anything like that on your streaming? Do you ever like play along with that?
Here and there, I'm not great at it, so I don't like to do things I don't feel like I'm doing my best at, but I'll do it here and there for fun, but then I'll watch someone like Tony Royster Jr. do it, and I'm just like, I want to do it like that.
Well, dude, that guy was like shredding when he was like 6.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he had like those.
He was like famous.
I heard about him.
Dude, me too.
Let me ask you this: when you listen to the Dre shit and the NWA shit, like, but then you listen to the P-Funk shit, what was first? Was it Parliament Funkadelic, or was it Dr. Dre? The first time you heard those melodies?
Well, it's probably Dr. Dre, dude.
No, I mean, it was actually because of my dad. It was the older stuff. Sick. It was my dad had me into like, the original stuff.
So like you come across this Dr. Dre shit and you're like,
Dr. Dre.
I've heard that before. That's fucking P-Funk.
Like I remember, Today Was a Good Day by Ice Cube. I remember hearing that and going, oh, my dad used to play this all the time, but he played the older version.
That's shit, dude. And you're younger than us. That's like the correct way.
I mean,
linearly, is that even a word? Linear has just been popping up so much. I'm just like loving that.
I wish that happened to me and I was younger than you, dude.
No, I mean, I
my parents played Motown for their credit, but
Motown stuff's good too.
But they didn't play P-Funk.
Motown too.
But I mean,
they may have gotten into the P-Funk shit, but mostly Motown for my parents too.
Yeah, my dad, he played a lot of funk and stuff growing up. Like I mean, that's what he toured back in the day, all around the world, and he came from like the Oakland funk scene, so like he slaps like his bass like nasty, like Victor Wooten style. So I was able to grow up jamming with him and just being exposed to all that. I mean, that's a whole nother thing in the Bay Area, aside from like metal and everything we've talked about. I mean, Sly and the Family Stone, all of the crazy funk
Tower of Power, dude.
Tower of Power.
You're the baby Mozart of drums, dude.
No.
No. But I'm saying is, if you got to hear everything at an early age, like all sick, and that's why it's your dad. That's why you're so fucking sick at a young age, dude.
I'm very fortunate.
My high school new metal band, my first recorded demo was in Tower of Power's rehearsal studio in San Francisco.
Oh, no way.
Yep.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
On a fucking 4-track with some guy that my dad knew, but he just had access to their rehearsal studio. So
except he was covering Counterfeit by Limp Bizkit, bro.
No, dude, it was all original shit, but don't ask me to fucking resurrect it, dude. It was terrible.
Yeah, man. I mean, that stuff's no joke, man.
It wasn't terrible. It was fun, dude. Actually, to be honest, like at that time I was I backed it because it was like my first real creative project with other dudes, And we wrote all that shit in the garage, doing it, we had practice every week, couple times a week, and you're fucking really building songs as teenagers. You're like, okay, it's art, dude, to you at that time. Then you look back on it and you're like, cringe, but it's like that's what you were into. You had the energy playing it live then, like, you had the ambition to do those songs, so it's like you can't knock your previous self.
No, not at all. That's how you grow, there's that's how you grow,
But I learned quick that I can't sing clean vocals, dude.
Yeah, you learn your strengths and your weaknesses, and that's why, like what I was saying earlier, as much as I love gospel music and church drumming, like I would never call myself a real church drummer. A real church drummer is someone like Eric Moore. I mean, he's not just church, he's everything, but you know what I mean? Like, I love that stuff and I'm inspired by it, but I know that my natural language is metal, and that's always been my natural language.
Didn't he play for Suicidal Tendencies too?
Oh, dude, he's played for everybody. He played for Suicidal Tendencies, P. Diddy, who else?
Speak other languages as
Tram.
well, dude.
I'll say it again, dude. I wouldn't push someone this hard if I didn't believe in it, and I fucking love that you brought this up. But dude, again, you need to check out Eric Moore. Everybody,
that's my
if you
hero,
care about drums at all,
everybody,
that motherfucker is so sick, dude.
Yeah,
Eric,
so don't forget it. Put it on a Post-it note on your mirror.
He's like dude, I'm not.
There's all those guys. There's so many incredible younger drummers too that are just on that level. Like there's Mason Guidry, Andy Prado Jr.
This is one of the things I was excited to get into, because I wanted to break this open for some people that there are people that are discovering new things by listening to this podcast. If you pay attention enough to the comments and stuff like that. So this is one of the avenues that I think that is these guys need to break into that and really find out. This is this whole new realm of sick musicians.
Oh, totally, man. I mean, the first, I kind of call it like the first gospel chops wave that happened in like the early 2000s. It was like Eric Moore, Tony Royster Jr. Thomas Pridgeon was a huge one. He was like the gospel chops like guy. Everybody knew him. But man, it's just kept going and going. Because a lot of those guys, they they grew up in the churches, but they didn't always have like YouTube and stuff. So it was like, I remember 2004, 2005, that stuff started to get really popular. And now you have a whole new generation of just absolute monsters. Like if you guys want to see unbelievable players, look at,
Luke guy. Luke, I fucking forgot. Holland?
Oh, Luke Holland. Yeah.
He's a sick one too. Sorry.
Go
ahead.
Super sick.
I love how you're shouting out all these sick drummers. I'm just all about it. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah. Check out Mason Goodry, man. Mason Goodry, another guy that changed my life forever.
Nice. Sick. I'm gonna. Yeah. I don't know that guy. Honestly, I'm gonna. Check it out.
Do you follow Grayson Newcrutman? I've actually never said his name out loud, but
no. He's like. Is he big on Instagram?
Yeah, he's like a jazz drummer.
I feel like I've seen him before. That sounds very familiar. Yeah.
He's insane. Absolutely insane.
I mean, there's all the like classics like Vinny Colaiuta and Steve Gadd and Dave Weckl and all the fucking dudes. But it's like it's so sick, these modern dudes that are just so fucking rad, and they bring something new to the table.
Yeah.
But I do think it's really important. Like what you keep mentioning Tony Royster Jr. and I was like into that dude like back in the early 2000s when he was like a kid.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's the fucking. And not only was he so sick, he was doing all of that shit, all that gospel stuff, and like he's kind of like to me the poster child of that whole thing.
Yeah, totally.
Literally. Yeah, man, that guy is so fucking good.
It's funny because
he's like
I
Eric
think
Moore, same.
Yeah,
style.
I think from what I've observed, it seems like a lot of those guys like they don't want to be called gospel drummers.
Oh, really?
It's funny because like it's like they don't want to be called gospel drummers, but that's just kind of how the world.
Well, why? I'm curious. I'm just curious.
I think a lot of them, it seems like they don't want to be put in that like label of like, oh, I'm just a church drummer, because they could do like so much more.
It's like limiting.
Yeah. Because I've had some interesting conversations with guys before, and I'll go to like the top dudes, and they're like, I'm not a gospel drummer. Like that's like. It's kind of just like this name that got slapped on them, but I mean, you have to think
gospel
like,
chops is the term, right?
Yeah, exactly. Gospel chops. I mean, I've seen videos of like Chris Coleman talking about it and saying like, yeah, like when those DVDs started to blow up and all that, like people just didn't know what it was. It was like a whole world that wasn't really like, a whole world that wasn't exposed yet. So it just kind of became like, oh, like that's a gospel chops drummer. And I think it kind of started to be viewed as like, oh, like he's only a gospel chops guy. Cause you'll in the drumming community, you'll hear all the talks of like, oh, he's a chopper or he's pocket.
He's a chopper.
Blah, blah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Like he's pocket. No, I've never heard that actually.
So Alex, what would be like give me like one or two or three for the listeners and watchers, like albums that they should check out specifically on.
But it's like the drummers though, like rather than the albums.
So it's like from these drummers though, they have albums out, right?
Well,
go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was gonna go ahead and finish. I don't want to finish you.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's a lot of albums, but when it comes to the albums, it's a lot of times from what I've seen, it's based more off of like the choir doing like a live performance, but it could be a different drummer.
You have to, it's improv, the stuff that we're talking about. It's the
you want to follow the drummers.
You want to go down the YouTube,
follow their Instagrams.
I mean, if you type in gospel chops, you'll get plenty of stuff that pops up. I like to follow this page on YouTube. It's called Chops, Licks, and Grooves, and it's literally just it's just every day they just upload videos of random guys, because you have to understand, like in that world, it's literally just there's endless guys, and it's hard to keep up with them. You have your main names, but then you also have like thousands of other guys that are monsters, but they're just not really well known. They play in a lot of exactly. Yeah. So that page is cool because I get to discover a lot of names that I wouldn't have discovered.
Do you know Eric Harland?
I know that name.
Harland, dude.
Eric Harland. I know that name.
But he's more of like a jazz, like crazy, like all around the place. But he can do all that stuff, dude. Eric Harland. You should check him out with an A. So Harland with an A.
Yeah, I know that name. I feel like I've watched him on
one of my
YouTube.
favorites. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's crazy because I feel like a lot of the I say church drummers because I know a lot of them, they don't like to be called that, but it seems like they've taken the natural pocket and feel that you get from playing in that environment and mixed it with the guys that you were mentioning, Casey, like the Dave Weckels and the Steve Gadd and all that. So it's almost like this hybrid of like very nasty, heavy pocket with all of these nasty licks from the old timers. It's pretty awesome to see.
It's like they're loosening up their pocket, you know, because everyone can put that pocket, right? Like the backbeat, the 2 and the 4, you know, just that, you know.
I think from this podcast, we all should just learn. We all need to loosen our pockets, dude. Just our pockets a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, me coming from no drum background and like, and being seeing the Gospel Chops videos and stuff, like the fact that it was called Gospel Chops always kind of threw me off. I was like, why is this? I mean, because it was just like shredding, like kind of jazzy, kind of like, you know, fluctuating, like breathing, kind of like drumming. It wasn't
just
never
didn't see the connection.
Yeah, the connection. Like I can see why they don't want to be boxed into being called, you know, church drummers or gospel, whatever. Because I can see that's like, because that's such a specific thing to link it to. It's not like
I know
it's nothing to do with music. I mean, gospel is there's music, obviously there's gospel, which is music. I mean, there's music in that, but like to throw that like shredding, like drumming over and just call it gospel.
I was like saying you're a metal drummer. That's all you can do, you know?
Right.
Well, no, but also
it's kind of that same concept.
But just like even like linking the word gospel to that kind of free jazz shredding drumming kind of always like confused me. I remember because I could not link it. I mean, to anything, and watching these 2 guys just like jam back and forth, and like they were wearing like the regalia maybe of little like of church, you know, had the church symbols.
It's not about
that's what I'm saying. That's what I didn't understand was like
I want Joel to finish because he's making a great point. And I just want to chime in after you're done.
I'm just saying I didn't see the link between gospel and the drumming and watching them jam, and I basically saw it as like a free form kind of jazz battle kind of, and the fact that they called it Gospel Chops, I was like, oh, I don't really get that, but if that's what they want to call it, you know, they're shredding everyone else, so they can call it fucking sandal rock if they want to, you know. They could,
sandal rock.
I mean, it's funk drumming on steroids. It's like jazz with mixed with funk. So like it all relates to different. Yeah. Well, my perception of gospel drumming is like
love me some Jimmy Buffett.
Sorry. No, that's all good. I'm just chatting. But like it's basically like, to me, and my perception of it is like such a sick take on drumming over that music that comes from the church. So they're like playing over to these songs, whatever it is in the church that they're doing, but it's like full expression. It's like, it's not like, you know, like this, like, you know, sing along thing. It's like everyone, the singers, everyone in the whole church, like that, like, it's like the same thing as like a gospel choir, you know, like that whole, like they like approach it differently. It's not like an orchestra. It's like this soulful. They're not just singing,
they're dancing.
Dude, James Brown, man.
Yeah,
like that all comes from that shit.
Yeah, they're speaking with their whole self.
So
on a drum, you're using your whole self, dude. They're speaking with their whole self.
Well,
dude.
and there's different, like there's contemporary Christian music, which I love all that stuff too, but that is completely
it's totally different.
That's like what I'm talking about is like Ty Tribbett, Fred Hammond, like that music is super duper funky. Like I'll never forget going into some of those places and just kind of trying to lay simple pocket and literally feeling the bass player like popping around me and the organ player like hitting these, like it brings something out of you that you can't really explain. Dude, you know,
have you seen that classic Bootsy Collins bass lesson video that's like super short? It's like a minute long. And he's got the star sunglasses, and he's like, this is Bootsy Collins' bass lesson. And of course, we know Bootsy Collins played bass for the later group of James Brown, and then also, of course, in, you know, Funkadelic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But so he's like all like, it's all about the one, baby. And he's just like one. Just like James Brown, like it's all about the one. You find that one, and everything around is the funk, and then you funk it up. One. And if you know, it's like dancing, it's the same thing, even though they count to 8 and dance, but it's like that one is like everyone's locked in, like we know where that is, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because I mean the whole entire church most of the time is clapping. So even if it's just something as simple as like so it's like right there. I feel like that really helps a lot of those drummers learn how to chop and learn how to do those licks, because there's this constant in the whole building, no matter what it is.
That is the funk, like literally, that's the funk. That's what they're talking about. It's like the in-between of the like.
Yeah, so if you're like laying your pocket and you're doing your and you could do your and the whole time you still have that.
Yep.
And you have the bass player funking it up, and you have the organ with you, and you have the choir. So it makes this energy in the room that's just it's you can't explain it, you know.
I think it's the same shit you're tapping into as a band in a rehearsal studio where everybody's getting on that one wavelength, but it's taking a whole building of people.
Well, they just contribute to it.
Wavelength, dude.
Like the band is the band, and then the people that are in the building like give you all that energy, right? I mean, I've never played in a church, but like, is that how it is, Alex? Like,
totally. And then sometimes
all these people, you're like, it's a crowd every Sunday, right? You know,
sometimes it's that, and then sometimes it's the opposite. Like sometimes I would be asked to play at a church that the organ player didn't show up and the bass player didn't show up, so it's literally drum kit and voices, and we still made it work. But and it still sounded beautiful because all of their voices are just, I mean, they're soulful singers. So it's a choir. But, I'm like, this is teaching me something different because now I can't rely on the bass player or the organ player. I got to vibe strictly off of their vocals, so I'd run into all kinds of little situations like that,
Again, where you like to be put in uncomfortable situations.
Oh, dude. Yeah, totally.
That's where you were getting your footing in that.
Yeah. And a lot of times I would show up and I might not even play at all. If I show up and I know I just see a bunch of musicians there and I know they're the real deal, like real church guys that like grew up in this thing, I'm not playing. No way. No way. I've seen
back and watch.
I've seen little kids get up on there and just shred. And I'm like, I don't want to look like a clown. Been there, done that. I'll know my place.
Their night to shine, dude.
Like the son of like the best drummer in the whole thing. You're just like, oh no.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, like that's how I tried to be. Is like, if you need me, like I had a couple churches in Stockton, California, which is like where Eric Moore and his family are from and all that. And a couple of them, they needed a drummer, like on Sundays. So I was like, shoot, if you need somebody, count me in. I would love to take that opportunity. But there was also other situations I'd walk into where like I had a friend that was an organ player and he would pull me to all these different churches, and it was amazing. I really grew in that time, but there'd be some times that would be a little awkward because he'd be like, hey man, like I'm playing at this church Friday night, blah, 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 blah. Let's go there together. And I'd be like, cool. And I would show up and there would already be a drummer there. There'd already be a guy just smashing it, killing it. And then my buddy, he would be on the organ, my buddy Kevin, he'd be like, hey, let him play. And I'd just be like, no.
Not down.
Yeah. But
on the ombre.
Yeah. But, again, I'm just like, well, swim or sink, probably going to sink, but hey, it's going to be a great story. It's going to be a great experience.
And you learn the most from sinking. You learn the most.
The best part is when
you went for it, though. That's the whole point.
When you're put in the situation where you might sink, when the people that are like organized enough to like understand, like, hey, like I put you in this situation, so like if you sink, it's cool, but like like they know, they want you to grow and learn, from that,
Yeah,
that's cool,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had so much fun and it's still such a special part of my life, man. I mean, it really changed my life, man. And I noticed just with other things too, like if I went to an open jazz jam or something, I was like, this is all becoming very easy to me, and I think it's because I'm getting used to being thrown in situations like that, where it's like just really like, on the spot, no rehearsal, just go for it, so I'm just, at the end of the day, I can't say it enough. I'm very fortunate, I still have so much learning to do. Like I'm
well,
dude, it's
musician.
Anyone
who says they don't is lying,
it's very cliche to say, but it's really true. Like I'm not anywhere. I'll never be where I want to be, and I think that's kind of the beauty of it. Like, the cliche lines, they come out because they're true. Like it's about the journey, and you guys all know that too as musicians,
A common theme on this podcast is definitely like, if we were satisfied with what we were doing, would we continue?
Yeah.
And the answer is most likely no.
No. It's an art.
We're always chasing something. We always have something to fix, and we always want to try.
Yeah. How do we get to this point? How do we get to this point? We got to this point by listening to like a Yellow Card, and then like pushing it on and like hearing like like a Slipknot, then hearing like the And Time Begins that changed your life, and like things that like pushed you to be like, oh shit, like the gospel chops people, and like you basically like are always, I mean, if you're especially in your position, being in such like a spotlight of what you guys are doing, you basically are exposed to so many different amazing musicians constantly, and it will constantly push you. And I noticed that's one thing about Trivium that I'm kind of picking up on, is that it seems like Trivium is a band that still lives like teenagers, where they're, I mean, in the sense that they keep wanting to push it, and they keep wanting to keep going after it, even at, in their whatever late 30s, 40s, whatever they're in, most of the band, they still have that energy and that drive to keep pushing, like they have that, that's why they're so successful. It's because they keep pushing it,
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I'm so fortunate to be with them. I mean, being with them, I feel as hungry as I was when I was a kid, and I'm just very fortunate. I mean, you nailed it on the head, man. The guys are amazing. They're amazing musicians. They're amazing guys. They're super, super smart. I mean, that's the thing that a lot of people don't know about them, is like, how freaking smart they are with like everything. Like when I say that Paolo, our bass player, I feel like he could literally be like a lawyer for the band if he wanted. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like that's how in tune with like everything that guy is, and all of them. Like they're more than just gifted musicians. They're very smart, smart dudes. Yeah. So, so me, I'm just like fortunate to be there, man. I'm like, wow, like I'm still pretty young, but it's cool. It's not like I'm young, but they're still young too. So it's not like this weird age gap where I'm like playing with like a bunch of like grumpy 50-year-old dudes or something, like it's like we relate on so many things, and we have fun hanging out with each other. And yeah, I love those guys, man. That's very fortunate.
Fucking killer spot to be in, dude.
Sick.
Yeah.
Killer spot to be in.
And not a better person that deserves it, man. From the first time I met you, man, like it's literally been, your energy's been very positive. You've always been very cool. There's no, you obviously like can slap those skins around. So like you have the full package.
Yeah. So you want to do an album, dude? I got some in the works.
Oh, dude, you guys, it would at the drop of a dime, man. That everything you guys have done is literally my roots, And
man, that's like insane compliment. Thanks.
Oh yeah. Everything, man.
Let's do a dual drummer situation where both Casey and Alex are playing. Oh no, Joseph in there too, dude. Let's
Joseph
triple
man.
Drummer attack, and then just bass and vocals.
I just got my tickets to King Crimson today, so
what up?
That's what they do live. So yeah.
Oh yeah, they have multiple drummers, right?
Joel wins,
they have
for sure.
Joel
wins.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys what you guys are up to? I hate just sitting here yapping about me all night. I'm genuinely curious, if you guys got any stuff going on, like as far as music goes, or just in life or anything like that.
We
it's
we're over it.
We're
Odious is pretty much, music is pretty much almost ready for a full.
We have 10 songs.
Yeah,
it's ready. We just need to put solos on like one song, and then one song. I don't know if we need to add one, but yeah,
and I've been I got ideas writing down. Actually, today I got a few times today where I had some ideas I needed to jot down.
Universe, dude.
It's about dirt, dude. Like,
it's about dirt.
Yeah,
it's in fucking
gravel, dude.
Exactly. Birds.
Fucking gravel. We're going deeper.
Bunch of bird references again, dude. And
I got worms.
Dude,
that's what we're gonna call it. I got worms,
dude. The worm's been there every fucking album as well.
They've been gestating.
I got some great fucking lyric content for you, Anthony. I was like watching this like random YouTube video, like the infographics about like how like it's becoming a trend to like bury people like organically, like in the ground.
Yeah, dude.
Like
that's our. There
you go, dude. There you go.
Talking about
sing all about worms all day long, dude.
There's a song on the synesthesia where at the end of that I'm like, people are more would just be buried in a box and be not given back to Mother Earth, dude.
At these all, dude, I got at the lyric at the very end of the album that's just like,
yeah, exactly.
Dude, there's like 4 bird references or 3, because that's all us though, dude. That's just me weaving our little stupid inside jokes into the album.
No,
yeah, we do talk a lot, like me, Casey, and Anthony like do these like drive home talks and stuff, and a lot of weird fucking obscure ideas just come from them. Like
you talk to Anthony too? I thought it was just me, dude. Fuck.
No,
we had a relationship going. Yeah. You cheating on me, dude?
Casey's finding out I've had 2 separate phone call relationships with you guys.
Can I?
But before Joseph, but I do have to. I want to do my drum nerd thing too before we bounce out. But yeah, go ahead, Joseph.
Oh yeah, just if you wanted to extend that question to me, then we have
all you guys,
Violently Vomit merch that we just printed. This is this is the Disgorge continuation project led by Diego Sanchez.
Oh, and nice, man.
We just got these.
Looks good. Oh, fuck, for all of you audio listeners, check out the YouTube video to see.
Gotta put it over there.
Looks good, dude. Fuck
that's awesome, man.
And I'm gonna be selling these through our Facebook page, and if you mention the Cali Death podcast in your message to us,
no way, are you serious?
We'll give you the homie discount, bro.
No, it's the first.
You got a promo code.
You got promo codes. Oh my god,
promo code.
Just mention the podcast.
I guess we're doing that now. Yeah, that's fucking dope. Fuck yeah, Joseph.
And I'm actually, Joseph, I'm going to be going to your, so Joseph, if you want to announce that festival in Vegas,
we're playing the Sin City Slaughterfest, which is October 8th and 9th in Las Vegas. And October 8th, Mortician is headlining. And then the 9th, to Violently Vomit, we're playing above. Yeah, dude.
Dude, I'm going to be there like a week after. I already booked the trip for like a week after that.
Well, then you could do a week before too. It's pretty easy. You just jump in a car and we take you.
Yeah,
you guys are driving.
I have rides lined up.
You got a ride, dude? Fuck yeah.
I mean, have you're a ride? I have like 3 or 4 people that hit me up that are going. So like,
there's amazing bands on that bill. Malignancy is playing, Skeletal Remains, Putrid Pile, a bunch of fucking sick underground bands. I don't deserve to be playing behind those bands by any means.
Come on, dude.
I'm just gonna be like learning as I go. So that'll be fun. So that's what I'm up to live wise. And then homies in the chat for Dreamer Metal, one of my other projects, Dreamer, and that shit's going down. So
dude, Alex, you gotta check out Dream. So
Joseph
came over. Yeah, Joseph came over and was like, "Oh, check out my demo of this band," and I was like, I was doing the whole like, "Yeah, it's cool, man, tight. Like, show me your demo, dude." Because like being in bands, you get like demos all the time,
right?
So I was like, "Okay, cool, show it to me," and I just was like, "What the fuck?" Like, and I literally hit up a record label right away, and they're like, "We'll sign this immediately." They were like, "I know, it's super good, dude. It's like
that's all.
I gotta get my hands on
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris
I gotta get my hands on it.
If you like the intro to this shit, that's Chris Beatty, dude.
That's the guitar player who does our intro song, which we add to our like main episodes.
Yeah,
he's a freak. He's a fucking another one of these like we were talking about.
I mean, I know him as Christopher Beadle, but it's Beatty.
But yeah, no, he's one of these like freak of nature young kids that's like come out of the woodwork that's just like, let me take a little Cynic here, a little BT Bam here, a little fucking Severed Savior here, a little this here. I'm like, has taken all those
Severed
things.
Savior, let me step on that real quick because Joseph was doing the merch plug.
Yeah, go for it, dude. I know what you're doing.
Servile Insurrection, the 2008 release that we were supporting with Alex in Archaic. They finally pressed it on vinyl through Artisan Era. There's a limited amount. There's 3 different variants of crazy looking vinyl.
I ordered one.
As they're into vinyl, get over there quick because like I said, it's only 300. I don't know how fast that album goes. I don't know how many people who like vinyl will buy it up, but either way, that sounds like a small number. So
that's an incredible record too, man.
Yeah,
cool, dude. I get a few copies of it. I don't even have a record player, but I want to buy one now. So I have Cryptic.
I got a wall, dude.
Servile.
I'll put it on the wall, dude.
I know. I'm getting a couple of them. So one of them is definitely going to go into like a framed thing, and then, but I still want to like buy a record player just so I could hear what this shit sounds.
Do you have a record player, Alex?
We do. I'm still trying to get into the vinyl thing.
Me too.
Christina's a big vinyl person.
You just put the digital on and just hold the vinyl and go, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, everybody, I don't know. I might get slaughtered for this online, but everyone's always like, you gotta get the vinyl, bro. It's just different. And I'm like, I don't think it sounds as good. Maybe it's just because I grew up in the digital era, I guess. But
yeah. You just lost 50 subscribers after you said that.
Yeah,
oh my
seriously.
god!
No, that's an opinion because I hear that a lot from people, and like
that's an opinion.
And I have people that literally show up and like they're way into vinyl and stuff. They're like, you gotta listen to it like this, and I'm like. I mean, it sounds pretty much the same. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a little different, but like,
But then you get like a guy like Mike Marinkovich who'd be like, dude, if you get it on 180 grand,
that dude,
and you got your needle that costs you $500, your player that costs you $2,000, and then these speakers that cost $5,000
shit.
And then you play a Mojave New Orchestra record and you hear instruments that you never heard before.
Yeah.
Fuck all that shit, dude. Sounds good. I'm just saying, who cares?
Yeah, I enjoyed listening to John Coltrane on vinyl and Miles Davis. That was cool because I feel like it kind of, I don't know, it had that old sound, so it made sense to me.
Like Sabbath records and shit.
Yeah,
like amazing on vinyl.
Yeah, I would rock that for sure. But I'm not going to get a record from 2020 and be like, you got to listen to it on the vinyl. Like, I'm like, dude, I don't care. Just give. I
think it's faster though if you turn up the record play a little bit. Is it get faster? Like 3.
Okay. In all honesty, the thing that trips me out the most is that there's little etches into a piece of vinyl that go at various depths to where a needle goes across it, and my voice plus Casey's drums plus Joel's bass plus Dan Egger's guitar, Kerry Gear's guitar, Ron Jarzenbeck's guitar, we're all pressed into, well, actually not with Cryptic actually, but I'm just saying, that whole concept of like all that is being like pressed into
the most fucked up but they put drum and bass on vinyls, and it's like the biggest bass, so it's like it's confusing.
But
I think a lot of it has to do with the older generation. Well, the older generation, like, they got their favorite Led Zeppelin albums and they dropped it and they dropped the needle on, and it kind of like gives them this nostalgia.
But can you imagine the needle going across a piece of plastic right now and getting your bass line?
Yeah, but
can
that's
you imagine
it
in your brain?
But can you imagine a laser doing it?
But you can, though.
No, I can't.
No, but I mean, dude, have you ever been? Have you seen a drum and bass show live though? And they're using vinyls. Like I saw like Techage, like years ago, and it was fucking nuts. And it was all vinyls, man. And I had like what was that famous drum and bass guy? I can't fucking remember his name, but
Skrillex or something.
No, dude, it was
back in the day.
The main dude. Fuck, dude, I can't remember it. It's been so long, but yeah, man. I mean, those vinyls sound insane, and so I don't know, dude. It's like. It's crazy, dude. I don't know. It's all.
No, it's going back to the whole classic thing. Like a lot of people like retro classic stuff, and that's like where a lot of the influences came from in our musical lives. Where that's how they listen to music.
Sorry.
Okay.
Dillinger. Sorry. I just say it. I
got it.
I definitely get the appeal for sure. Especially the older people.
That's like reggae, like dance hall shit, right? Or is it just reggae? Casey Dillinger.
What was that?
No, fucking drum and bass, dude, with like fucking heavy bass, right?
Okay.
Like, dude, David Siskin, dude, our old guitarist, like an ODC. Yeah. He's got like a closet full of vinyls, dude, and he does his Warbreaker. Shout out to David and Warbreaker, his channel on SoundCloud, and he does live radio shows and drum and bass. I mean, he used to do death metal, now he's all in drum and bass, and it's all vinyl. So I'm not trying to argue. I'm just trying to say that I don't know anything about this stuff. I love you, Anthony. I just think there's no like difference. It's just I don't know. I'm just saying I don't even understand how do you, if it's like you take an old vinyl and it's like it sounds like old school, but then they also do this modern like insane shit off vinyl. I fucking know nothing about that.
We should bring someone. We should bring a DJ on to explain it.
Yeah, dude, we need it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just wanted to mention. So the first guy who I shipped any TVV merch to, Scott Baumgardner, shout out. He bought 3 of the Servile Insurrection vinyls.
You got all 3 of them?
If you fucking
really
if you're trying to buy one and you ran out and there's none more, it's because of him.
He's a hoarder.
There's 3 versions. That's crazy.
Yeah, he got all 3 of
them. Nice.
Hoarding them.
They have different names too. I don't even remember. There's, I don't know, the variants.
I just realized I had a huge.
He has the he has a synesthesia vinyl too, by the way.
What was that, Alex? Sorry, I cut you off a couple
times. Dude, we need to push people on the cryptic.
Okay. All right, Alex's turn.
No, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying, it just came to me right now. I totally brain farted and forgot I wanted to shout out Dylan from Brain Drill, because I did a record with him for the last Brain Drill record, and then also Jeff, Laura, and Sean from the band Gotcha Covered, which is a cover band that I played with every weekend from 2014 to 2020, I guess. Yeah, right, until the point where I left here. But I totally, I don't know how you forget that, but I forgot. It just slipped my mind, and I just wanted to give them a shout out as well. So,
okay,
sorry, that's very random, but I was like, I got to say it now before I forget.
I mean, dude, like awesome. I was saying earlier, it's like with a list like yours, dude, trying to compact it into a certain amount of time with us, like, so, and hitting you with side questions and shit like that. It's like, you got through it very well, dude. And
so out of the 17 bands, like, what was
Alter Beast? But also, right, you did the Feast album with Alter Beast.
Yeah, that just came to mind now. Yeah, that record, I did that. So shout out to them.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Holy shit!
I keep forgetting all this stuff. I'm like,
but it's not Gabe, it's you.
He did the one before me, and then the last one they did, Feast. That was me, and that was super random. I had a lot of fun making that record too. That was really fun.
The new one.
Yeah.
Damn, you did Feast, dude.
Yeah.
God damn it! I didn't fucking know that. God damn it, Alex, dude. You've done so much awesome shit.
I know.
I'm very fortunate, man. I'm very fortunate.
I'll make this quick, but what kind of drums do you play? What kind of pedals do you use? Cymbals, drum nerd shit. Just make it quick, because I don't want to. I could go like 3 more hours on that, but
I know I could too, man. I could just on drumming alone, dude. I could talk for oh my gosh. But I play Zildjian cymbals. I endorse Zildjian.
Okay, you endorse it,
Yes, I endorse Vic Firth drumsticks.
Nice.
I endorse Axis percussion pedals.
Yep, me too. Sick.
And then I endorse JH Audio in-ears.
Cool.
I endorse Asus, which is kind of crazy. They do like all these microphones and stuff for like the gamer thing. That was through Matt really pulled some strings with that and kind of got the whole band hooked up. And then I don't actually have a drumming endorsement as far as drum kits right now. I play Tama.
Surprising.
Yeah, I play Tama with Trivium, but I don't have an endorsement. So I'm still, that's all kind of still up in the air. Like, I'll kind of play anything. If I show up at a festival and there's a DW kit or there's a Pearl or yada yada. I endorsed Crush Drums for a very long time, which was a really, really great company. They're still around. They're based out of Florida. I endorsed them for a long time, and they were wonderful. And then now I'm just kind of like, I'll see if something happens.
You know what's coming. You know that you have like 10 people that want to.
He's all like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see. He's waiting for Sonar to fucking chime in and be like, all right, we got you.
Yeah, maybe something will happen with Tama, but I mean, I think
Tama. For sure.
I was talking to them, and but then Corona happened and all this stuff, so I haven't even talked to any of my companies at all. My whole thing has been like, I've tried not to crack any cymbals or anything because I know everything's so backed up. I'm like, I don't even want to bug you guys. I'm just gonna
kind of. Because you're a sweetheart, but you should be like, you should literally like, let's walk around NAMM next year and we'll get you endorsed. Let's get you endorsed. Like, you need to not ever pay for drums or anything. Like,
he's all like,
I mean, Tama has been great in the sense that like they gave us some good deals for kits when I started playing with Trivium, because it's more that Trivium had a relationship with Tama from previous drummers. So when I first joined the band, they were definitely really cool and working with us, but I'll wait and see if anything becomes
probably get like a Pearl
official.
Like Dive Hiley's got a Pearl
Dive High,
but he's from Australia.
Yeah,
Tasmania. But yeah,
no, I mean, I'm not picky with gear. That's like the one thing about me. I'm like, I don't really care what logo's on it as long as it sounds good. You know?
Yeah. I mean, all the companies sound sick. I mean,
it's kind of like guitar. Like any guitar company, as long as you're like a endorsed artist, they can make like a fucking guitar that you want. Like they'll make whatever. If they're like got their money behind you, and they're like, if you're not like, I know like some of the like best jazz bass players like that basically will play like Dean's and stuff, which Dean is not known as a bass company at all. They're like, that's like a very cheap company, but they'll like make you your bass, and
it's
then
like the best jazz guitar is made by BC Rich.
Shit.
Oh shit!
Oh man!
What's that, Joseph? Show that again. What is that?
Sorry, muted. This is a Dean bass that I.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, nice.
I didn't mean to say they weren't the bass.
Crazy. Nice.
Right on. Yeah, actually, our bass player Paolo, he just endorsed Kiesel, which I said, yeah, and
that's over here in Escondido. Like I've driven
gang,
by the factory a bunch. So,
that's
San Diego. At NAMM, they're the most impressive at NAMM. Every time, like they just have the nicest fucking setup.
Yeah,
like the best presentation. Like you go to NAMM and you really figure out like. So last time I was there, it was Kiesel was like the most like jaw dropping. Like, okay, you guys are the next like thing that everyone wants. And I saw Ormsby coming up, going like, okay, we're gonna be the next thing for guitars too. That are and then all of a sudden like all these guys are like, well, what do I do, Kiesel or Ormsby? It's like it's basically like a lot of these companies are becoming like. They're showing their fucking peacock feathers and being like, all right, this is what we got, motherfucker. Like, you want to be an artist? Or like, I remember walking around with Michael Keane last time. He was like, I don't have an endorsement. Let's go find like what we should do. And I was like, go to Comparison. Go to Comparison Guitars. That was my favorite guitar at the time. I was like, go there. And he's just all, they're out of country, blah blah. And it's like he found like some obscure company that's like, we'll do whatever you want, like you will make whatever you want for free, and it will be your name on it, and blah blah blah. And I think, I mean, obviously with the name of Trivium and how you're contributing to the next, to this album and stuff, the newest album and stuff, and I think that, I mean, it should be no problem. You should just have like free drums for life.
So what kind of pedals? What kind of pedals? So Axis? Do you using short boards, long boards? E-kits? Do you trigger? What's this, double bass, singles? Like what's
I play double bass, 2 kick drums. The pedals I'm using, 2 kicks.
Okay, so single pedals.
Yeah, single pedals. I want to say I'm playing the double A longboards. I'm so bad with gear.
Double A.
No, because it probably doesn't exist. If someone talked to me about gear, they'd be like, "This guy does not know anything about anything." I cannot think of the name right now. Oh my gosh.
So I've got the A21s.
I don't think it's those ones.
Just regular longboards, like the A longboard.
I think it's just the it's nothing fancy. It's not the super wide crazy ones. It's literally just like a very basic Axis pedal. Yeah, like the whatever's the normal one. Probably the same ones you played, I think, maybe.
I play the A's, like the original A's, the short boards.
I think that's what I play too. I think I play the.
They have the heel part. That's the difference. So like the short boards have the little heel, like joint, and then it like goes up to the whole pedal. I go to the microphone. I'm off the mic. So like there's a heel joint, and then it goes up to it like a normal pedal board that goes straight up, right, vertical, or I mean not vertical but straight. And so, but with the long boards, like the pedal goes all the way down to the edge, or like the pedal board, right?
I think I have the long boards.
Okay, yeah. There's no like heel hinge.
No.
Right.
Yeah, so I play the long boards, and I use the hammer beaters, which is kind of rare. I think not a lot of people do.
The ones that are kind of a right angle like that.
Yeah. Did you use?
It's not the Cali beaters. No, I always use DW, just straight like DW beaters turned to like the hard side. That's what I always used. Yeah, I still do. But so you use the ones that are like the cross that go like that, right?
Yeah.
Not the Cali beaters, which are like the straight ones with the little thing. So you do the interesting, dude. Those are like sick, man. That's cool.
And the reason why is because I actually, when I started getting into death metal, all my favorite dudes were playing Axis, and so I ended up doing the Sick Drummer magazine blast off competition, that was the winner would get a free pair of Axis pedals. So I was like 15, and I was like, I gotta win this thing. I need to get these pedals.
You were 15, dude.
Yeah, I was 15. So it was like an online competition, and it was like 3-minute drum solo or something.
Dude, so sick.
I think might still be on YouTube if I'm not mistaken. But anyways,
oh really?
I ended up
look it up.
Yeah, I ended up winning it, which was really sick. And then I got those pedals, and I remember when I first put those pedals on my kit, it felt so amazing that I was like, I'm not touching anything. I'm not touching the spring tension. I'm not. So
okay.
I've literally never messed with my pedals at all. Like I just leave the spring tension about in the middle. And those were the beaters that I played with because they were in the box. So I was like, well, that's what I'm sticking with because that feels good, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Oh, and then triggers. I use the Roland TM2 with RT 10K acoustic drum triggers.
That's what I got too. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Those are rad.
Yeah, I love it, man. I tried the e-kits for a little bit, and they worked great. It was when I was playing with Decrepit Birth. I went to Europe.
Sure. Yeah,
and the first 2 weeks I was like, yeah, like I'm all about the e-kit life. And then I remember I hate to throw him under the bus, but I think it was Dave from Cali. I think that he messed with them in like the slightest bit, like doing something, probably trying to help me. But I remember from that moment on, it was nothing but misfires. Like every show, nothing was working out. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I just couldn't fix it. And I just so happened to like at the last minute when I was packing, I was like, I'm going to take these RT 10Ks just in case, you know, you never know.
Yeah.
And at our last show in Europe, it was some death fest. It was big though, big crowd. And what do you know? These triggers are just not working at all. And I'm like, I don't want to bomb in front of this crowd, and I don't want Matt to get frustrated. And this is just not good. And then I remembered at the last second, I was like, I got the Roland, I got the RT 10Ks, and I threw them on the kit. And it was like one of the best shows I feel like I've ever played. And I remember from that moment on, I was like, I will die for these bad boys. I'll play these till the day I die. These things save me. So.
Yeah. John from John Longstreth from Origin like gave me like one of those, like the Roland like kick pedal trigger things or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And but I gave them to a friend. I had them. I held on to them for years. But I basically kind of I've known so many people that have had problems with the e-kits. I've never had a problem, dude. I don't know.
Really?
I reset them at each show though.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I set them for the stage because there's different stage things. You have to have that Allen wrench, and then every single show you got to fucking reset the e-kits.
Yeah, I think that was one of my issues with it, because back then when I was playing shows like that, I would kind of get more nervous setting up than I would actually play in the show. I don't know why, but I would be like trying to adjust the e-kits, like kind of shaky, sweating. I can't see. And then I'd be like, okay, I think I got them right. And then I'd get up on stage and it'd be like,
oh no,
just
dude.
misfiring.
Damn.
So I guess it just depends on the person. And if you can get that angle right, you know, kudos to you. I mean, they worked for the first 2 weeks. Great. And then once they were slightly messed with, I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Well, that's awesome that you got it working on that. So yeah, man, fucking dope. And good. I just had to nerd out on that for a second.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely.
Casey's drum corner.
Yeah.
What size sticks do you use again?
I have been playing Vic Firth 5Bs since 2014.
5Bs are good. That's like just it's good. It's bigger, or it's not as big as a 2B. And it's like, you know, I do 5As a lot with like just random and students and stuff, and just playing rock and all that stuff. But the 5Bs, when I was in Decrepit, I think I was using 5Bs, but like the bounce and the heaviness of those, like you need it, you know, for the loud.
Yeah, definitely. Like I always dreamed of playing Vic Firth sticks, but like I remember at like Guitar Center, they were like so expensive. Like I was like, I can't afford to buy these like all the time with how much I break sticks. No way. That'd cost me a fortune. So I remember like I'd play them every once in a long while and just be like, oh, that felt so good. But when my normal stick was actually the sound percussion sticks from Guitar Center. I don't know if you remember those, but it would just be like a bag full of just like garbage, just like, really bad sticks. But I mean, it was like a good portion of it. And they seemed to kind of last on tour. I guess it was it was the cheapest option, but anyways, I used to play those for years. And I remember when the Vic Firth thing fell into place, I was just like, I can't believe I get to play this stick. Cause like, I never dreamed, I thought if I was ever endorsed by a stick company, I was like, there's no way it would be Vic Firth. Cause that's like the top of the top. But like, now I'm just like, I'm very fortunate, and now I don't know. I love playing with them every night, man. The balance of them and the feel of them. It's like, you can tell they put a lot of effort into their sticks,
dude, totally.
So yeah.
That fulcrum, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So all the non-drummers are like, what are you guys talking about?
Oh man.
It's all good.
But I mean,
we are like,
our guest is a drummer, so
3+ hours now, guys.
I know.
The longest one
I
we've
think
done.
we should go a little longer. I don't know.
Oh shit.
Nah, dude, I gotta throw in the towel, dude. I love it all, but I gotta throw in the towel.
I gotta wake up at 4:30. So
man, I wish we were just like all together at like a bonfire, just talk all night.
This is because it wouldn't stop, and this is exactly what goes on at those types of things, dude.
Yeah, I feel bad just yapping about me all night.
No,
I wish we could talk more about you guys.
Yeah, you're on the East Coast. It's already what time is it for you? It's 3 hours ahead.
About 12:40. So, yeah, probably wrap it up. But guys, thank you so much for having me.
Dude,
this was awesome.
This was a blast, so dude, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I know we haven't really like had this long of a conversation in a long time. And I dude, you're the same dude, but just you're more refined and you're doing your thing, dude. And I love it, dude.
Dude, yeah. I please, guys. Joel and Casey. I don't know if you guys have my number, but I know that Anthony, you do. I know Joseph, you do.
Yeah, if you want me to, I'll do a mass text to these guys.
No, just say what is it on the podcast? Just tell them.
Yeah, so it's 209.
Yeah, totally.
555.
You're still rocking the Modesto number over in Florida, huh?
209, dude. 209 till the day I die.
Hey, dude, I never even mentioned it, but did you ever come across a rapper named Young Droop?
Young Droop?
Yeah, he was
he from Modesto?
He's from the Merced.
Oh, Merced. No.
But he rocked 209. That was
really
that's what he would call out, 209.
There wasn't a lot of I'm sure there probably was.
Doja Click was Stockton.
There was a lot of, there was Stockton rappers, but it seemed like all the Stockton dudes, it was like really heavy gang stuff. So I wasn't really like too into it. I don't know if you remember the rapper from San Francisco, Roach Giggs. Did you guys ever get into him? Oh, he had his quick moment there, but I appreciated a lot of the kind of the more hyphy Bay Area stuff. Like the Valley had good rappers, but like I said, it was like, it came with a lot of other stuff that I was like, ugh.
A lot of baggage.
Yeah, a lot of dangerous baggage. So I'm like,
yeah, definitely.
It's great stuff. I mean, they're very gifted, and I dig it. Like, I'll listen to it on my own when I'm working out. But like, you don't want to be in the wrong neighborhood.
Shit that I came across when I was younger. Being in the Bay, like you would get the Bay adjacent rap if you knew what you were looking for. Yeah, it was always looking for like cameos on rap records and Frisco rappers being on it, but actually don't get me down that rabbit hole now.
I know at the ends, right? I'm like, Jesus.
I know the whole rap thing, but it is funny.
Joel was probably cringing the whole time as soon as I started mentioning rap.
No, it's kind of funny though, because like you guys all know how California is. It's like you really do. You got to be careful in certain neighborhoods, like what you listen to and how you dress and stuff like that. And when I'm out here on our porch, I'll be like working out, doing push-ups and burpees and stuff. And I love listening to gangster rap, and Christina's laughing because I'm going from this rapper to this rapper. So they were like all repping different neighborhoods and stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm out here in Florida. I can't get in trouble out here. So I'm good. I'll listen to whatever I want.
Yeah, right.
So anyways, but yeah, appreciate it, guys. You guys
I'm super glad to have you on, man. You've been, I mean, since the day I met you, you've been one of the most positive fucking like driven fucking people, and basically you're the person I saw you, like what Anthony was saying, I saw you like going up into the higher realm of metal, just because you were such like the person that was easy to tour with, that was a cool guy, that had his chops down, that was driven. And it's super cool to see you like at this level now, man. I mean, you basically have done what we've all dreamt of, and just keep it going, man. You guys are holding the torch for us, basically.
Oh, dude, thank you, man. And I really want to stay updated with you guys too. That's why I want you guys to have my number, because I want to stay as connected as I possibly can with everything that you guys are doing.
Totally, dude. And you're totally,
you know, so.
You're welcome to come back whenever you want, dude. If you ever get the itch and you're like, I want to come back on, dude, we'll fucking work it out, dude, and get you back on. No doubt.
They're calling for it in the chat. They say we need a round 2.
Oh man, we need more time too, man. If we didn't have a time barrier, this would go forever. Well, but yeah, man, I hope you guys get some good sleep and know, get to where you need to get safely. And let's definitely please keep in touch. I would love to keep in touch with all you guys.
Oh yeah,
most definitely, Alex, dude.
Alex, thanks, man. Dude. Thanks for coming on, man.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
Dude.
Thanks for having me.
Sir.
Yeah.
See you later.
Thanks to all the people that hung out with us all night, dude. And thanks to the subscribers, dude. Fucking 700 plus. That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, dude. It keeps growing, dude. I love it.
Trivium fans.
Yeah, dude.
Check out this podcast.
Check it out, dude. Come on.
It inspires me.
You can cross over the other way. Come on. Get into some death metal.
Hell yeah. Come on over. Come on over.
Like, subscribe, all that shit. Hit the buttons and love your families and love your friends. And we'll be back next week with some awesome stuff. Have a good week, guys.
You.